that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Radio.
Brother B.A. Ben Abraham, and I'm your host of the Man Up segment on Debate Talk For You platform. The objective is for all brothers from different walks of life to come together, link up, and build on matters concerning all various stages of life. If anyone would like to reach out on concepts and ideas, you can reach Brother B.A. at radicalrhyme1984@gmail.com. Again, radicalrhyme1984@gmail.com. Tap in. Let's build. Shalom. Shalom.
My first special guest, I'm going to introduce him right now. This is Chief X. What's going on, my brother, Chief X?
What's happening, Sal? How you doing? This is Chief X, the God best reincarnated.
All right, how you doing, man? Let the people know a little bit about yourself, but those that's not familiar with you, let them know about your YouTube channel, all of those things. Go ahead, brother. This is your time.
No problem. And if you cannot hear me clearly, just stop me and let me know, because I don't want no words to be unheard.
I got you.
Okay. They call me Chief X, the God best reincarnated, and the God best was protector of women and children. I got my flashpoint in Jumpstart, 1993, studying with the Nation of Islam. Found fault in that. Then I started studying with the Moors and going to the temple. Found fault in that. Then I started studying under Orthodox Islam. And this is my journey, We go through a journey and we evolve over time, okay? So found fault with Orthodox Islam. I started studying with the Hebrew Israelites, okay? Found fault in that. Then I finally realized, I said, you know what? Why am I trying to fit in to some certain organization, some certain group or clique? I came to this world. I'm leaving out this world by myself. Let me just be me. Because none of those movements, after a while and learning, moved me anymore, and I evolved consciously and through the knowledge I've gained. So I just became a truth seeker, I called myself, and I wanted to seek the truth. I didn't care about any ideology. I just was seeking the truth. So I started studying the Nile Valley civilization, and I studied Nile Valley civilization as a hobby only. Because I'm a student of history, and I'm just a student of life, okay? So I don't belong to any cliques, any religions, I consider myself a Pan-African, a Garveyite, and I represent the banner of the red, black, and green, okay? If I had a theist title, I would consider myself a pantheist, which is one who embraces nature in a nutshell, okay? So, I'm just a student of life. I'm a Pan-African. And I'm a Garveyite representing red, black, and green.
Once again, brothers, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show, bringing forth the information to the people out there on this particular topic. Once again, I'm glad to have you on Debate Talk For You Radio. And let me introduce my next special guest. A lot of you guys know him through the House of Consciousness. This is Lord Abba. Welcome to the show.
Islam. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my brother, loud and clear.
First I want to say honors for having me on the show, and honors to my opponent tonight. We have to respect our adversaries as well. I want to start by saying that I rise giving all praise to Allah and the highest of honors to His holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I extend those honors to the harbinger and forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I extend honors to all true and divine prophets. I extend honors to all messengers that were sent to us in the West. And I extend honors to every last one of you, for when man honors man, he honors his Father God Allah. A little bit about myself. I was born in the 5% Nation of Islam, which became the Nation of Gods and Earths. Grew up into that particular school of thought. As I got older, I transitioned into Nuwapu, all in seeking. Like the brother Chief X said, he went through these various schools and he found no truth there. I wouldn't dare say I didn't find any truth there. I found many truths in many of these schools, many facts, but there was always something missing. Went through Nuwapu. I went through a school of thought called Nupu, under a man named Afro, who wrote a series of books, most famously titled, for those that know, The Nature of Nature. Something was missing there. I got into the Moorish science through a bunch of sovereignty information that a lot of people were promoting at that point in time, kind of got famous, if you will, through that particular medium. And then once I seen that that wasn't what this Moorish movement was about, and I started studying Allah's last prophet for these days and times, that being Prophet Noble Drew Ali, then I understood what the Moorish movement was about. So I got on a trek to learn about who it is that we are, because I said to myself, Prophet Noble Drew Ali cannot be lying about all of this that he brought. He's saying that we are the Canaanites and we are the Moabites. Dr. York taught that the Canaanites were a European, or what you would call a white people, pale-skinned people, and a host of other things using the biblical narrative. So I said, how can this be true? So I set on a quest to uncover these facts. And once I uncovered these hidden gems, these things that were hidden from us about our true bloodline lineage, I put those things together. I put out a series of expositions or dissertations, a series of YouTube videos. I did a lecture in New York in 2011. I just asked for anybody to refute the information. And since I started on this trek, it's been 3 years now. No one has, and I mean no one, Israel doctrine has brought any rebuttal to any of the information that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought, and at least brought it to me based on my exegesis of breaking down said information that the Prophet brought us. My website is www.moorishsciencetemple.org. It's there for everybody to go and see and analyze the information there, which is well sourced, well referenced. So if you can refute it, please. Let's get it in. We got Sal Debate Talk for You Radio right here. So I just wanted to open up with that and say peace.
All right, no doubt. Once again, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on as well, my brother, bringing out the information to the masses out there. I know both of y'all brothers are busy, but, I appreciate you guys making some time to come on the forum, the Planet of Debates, the most respected debate forum via internet, Debate Talk for You Radio. We're going to start off with Chief X this time. Once again, get your pen and pads ready. The number is 646-716-7320. Tell a friend that Debate Talk for You is about to start. So let me open up Chief X phone line. Let me set up the timer, and you can go ahead, brother.
Thank you, Sal, and thanks for having me. I appreciate you also, Lord Abba, for coming out for this debate. Again, my name is Chief X, the God Best Reincarnated, and I hear I'm in the lion's den again, and just want to let you know I'm the alpha lion, because the God Best has lion attributes. Now, the title is Moors versus Morocco. Why do American Moors claim Morocco? That's the question. Now, my premise is Moors have nothing at all to do with Morocco. Okay? They have a history in Morocco. That's not their origin. That's not where they come from. That's not their nationality. Okay? Why do they claim Morocco? For two reasons: miseducation and the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, period. They didn't claim to be Morocco before that. Those are the two reasons they claim it. Who is Noble Drew Ali to say what it is? And let's get into this. He's a man who put his pants on just like I do. Noble Drew Ali was born in North Carolina in 1886. He's from the dirty South. Okay? He's not from Morocco. He's from the dirty South, right here where we are. In 1913, he founded the Canaanite Temple in Newark, New Jersey. The Canaanite Temple. Do you know what Canaan is? First of all, let me say, I'm not going to get caught up in wordplay and semantics. We're going to keep it plain and simple and use universal terminology, because we're talking to a public audience, and they need clear understanding. So we're not going to play with words tonight. He founded the Canaanite Temple in Newark, New Jersey in 1913. Do you know where Canaan is? Israel. Pakistan. Do you know where Morocco is? That's on the other side of the whole country of Africa, Northwest Africa. You're talking about Canaan, which is West Asia. Do you know the distance between those two places? What that got to do with Morocco? Nothing at all. Okay? In 1925, he came to Chicago and established and says we are Canaanites and are Moabites from the land of Canaan. And he called everyone Asiatics. West Asia, Asiatics. That has nothing at all to do with Morocco, which is Northwest Africa. We're not going to play. We're not going to let no words trip us up and think, and we're not going to play with time zones and geography. We're not playing right now. This is a discussion, okay? That's Asia. That's not Morocco. So when you ask the question, what do American Moors, why do they claim Morocco, I'm clueless when you really look into this, okay? He says, Noble Drew Ali says we're the ancient Moabites. Do you know what a Moabite is? A Moabite is a member of a West Semitic people who lived in an area now called Jordan. Do you know where Jordan is? Is that close to Morocco? Let's use some common sense science for a minute. Okay? A Moabite is not even a historical word or place. So here you got history and the Bible mixed all up in a story. No historian speaks of a place called no Moabites. Only religious people do. It's a biblical place. And it's in the Old Testament. Its history in biblical history is 14th century B.C. to 582 B.C. They're related to the Israelite stock. Moabites were son of Lot. Who is Lot in history? He's nowhere. His name is not nowhere, no temples built to Lot, no temples built to no Moabites anywhere. These are biblical characters. And Lot was a nephew of Abraham. Who was Abraham in history? Is there any temples, his name carved anywhere in ancient Africa? He's a biblical character. You're talking about literature now, not history, because the Bible is not literature. It's called a script. That's where scripture comes from. It's a written scripture. It's not history. Already Noble Drew Ali is all boxed up and confused. Because what? He was from North Carolina, born in 1986. He came out of a Christian background. He's from the dirty South. He didn't know nothing but Christianity. He's no special guru. It's no magic. This is reality. He was born in North Carolina, set up in New Jersey, then came to Chicago. Whatever they was talking about and learning at that time was Christianity. We just took off the dang shackles. Nobody knew nothing. He started a movement because people were searching for an identity and not having access to information as they're searching for an identity. People were miseducated and misinformed about geography, places, biblical characters, and all that. Okay? Noble Drew Ali goes on to say, he taught the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. Asiatic nations, that got nothing to do with Morocco. And the Moors were ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca. Are you kidding me? Mecca is less than 1,700 years old. It's not new at all. It's not old at all. It's not the root of civilization at all. Mecca didn't show up on the scene until the 3rd century A.D. It's new. It didn't exist. Mecca is not on any ancient maps. Noble Drew Ali is confused. For real. No Romans, no Greeks ever, and you can check the record, wrote about no Mecca. And they was all through that area. No Assyrians, none of these people wrote or talked about a Mecca. It didn't exist. It just came on the scene in the 4th century. There was no Mecca, and Mecca is not an ancient city. Noble Drew Ali is confused. Okay? Egyptians, Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians knew nothing about Mecca. The MST was incorporated in Illinois as a religious corporation in 805. Religious Corporation Act 805, ILCS 110. It's a religious group. It's incorporated as that in Chicago. He says the Moabites also belong to a northwestern African or Morocco, opposed to Moab. Moabites are not North Africans. They don't come from Morocco in any history book. It's confusion. Noble Drew Ali was supposedly given the lost sections of the Quran. I don't know who gave it to him. Maybe he had a dream. And those lost sections of the Quran was considered today what they call the Circle 7 Quran, which is the doctrine, the theological literature for the March Science people of America. People just take Noble Drew Ali's word for it, plagiarized from the Aquarian Gospel, written by a Jew boy. They go that Christian Judeo thing. His name is Levi Dowling, who was a pastor from Ohio. This is Asiatic stuff. This is West African ideology and talk. The holy day is Friday, just like the Muslims in Islam. The God is Allah. This is Islamic West Asian area and Asiatic. Nothing to do with Morocco at all. Now, how do we get to Morocco, end up getting to Morocco and having it have something to do with Morocco? The only connection is because Noble Drew Ali said that's where we descend from and that's our nationality. We're from Morocco. That's bull. He's no authority on that. Okay? This doesn't talk about much. The earliest history of Morocco's, early history we can even have records on it. Anything in Morocco was 1000 B.C. That's not ancient at all. Before 1000 B.C., nobody lived in Morocco. Nobody lived in Morocco before 1000 B.C. That's a fact. I don't care where you check. Okay? You cannot find no records prior to 1000 B.C. Okay? That's recent in history. Why would you want to claim something nobody was? It was a mountainous area. Wasn't nothing there. It wasn't fertile. Nobody wanted it. The West Africans didn't even mess around. Only time someone went up there is to travel to and fro. Transportation. It was a mountainous area. Nobody inhabited it prior to 1000 B.C. It was first when people went there and set up trade posts was the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians were a Mediterranean people and a mixed cadre group of people. They had black blood. They had Eurasian blood. They had Asiatic blood. And the information on them is sketchy. You can't nail it down. They traveled there in 1000 B.C. just to set up trade posts. And wasn't nobody at that time called Moor. It wasn't even a place called Morocco at that time. Which you want to attach yourself to some recent things? Okay. That's the beginning of their history, 1000 B.C. The original peoples there were nomadic and Berber. A Berber, when you call somebody a Berber, it's like calling someone Latin. Whether you're from Italy, Spain, you can be considered Latin. So a Berber is just a cultural, linguistic designation of a people, and they're all mixed up. They have some dark Berbers, they have light Berbers, they have pale Berbers, they have brown Berbers, they have olive Berbers, but it's a mixed group of people, and when you mix them all up, they're olive. which Noble Drew Ali loves to say, they're olive people. Okay? So they were Berbers and nomads. And nomad is someone who's traveling and searching for land. Okay? The Phoenicians were the first. After the Phoenicians, guess who took over? It became a Roman Empire controlled region from 1st century BC. They named it Mauritania. That's 2 minutes, I believe. Christianity was introduced to Morocco in the 2nd century. Wasn't no Moors there yet. Moors didn't get there till 700 A.D. Fact. Before that, 2nd century it was Roman. 5th century still Roman. It was a Roman Empire. Then it was invaded from the north by Vandals and Visigoths. Those are not Moors. Those are not black people. Black folk, African folk are not Vandals and Visigoths. In the 6th century A.D., northern Morocco was nominally part of the East Roman Byzantine Empire. In other words, before the Moors got there in 700 to conquer Morocco and Spain, there was another people there. Not black Africans. Not even sub-Saharan Africans. They were Eurasian type. A Berber is 45% Eurasian, 30% Arab, and I think they have maybe 20% African. So they have a mixed look, and they come in different shades and color. But wasn't no Moroccan, there wasn't no Moors over there. They didn't get there to 700 A.D. So before the Moors got there, somebody else was there. It's simple math. So what I'm saying is they don't originate there. That is not their homeland. Black people in America's homeland, 90% of us come from West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and before that we came from East Africa, from Nile Valley civilizations traveling there. We didn't give a crap about Morocco. It was a mountainous area. That was the 5% of Africa, Morocco, Algeria's area, that black folk didn't really too much go around and inhabit. It wasn't crap there. It was fertile everywhere else. So we're people.
All right, once again, you're listening to Debate Talk Radio. The number is 646-716-7320. That was Chief X. Once again, welcome everybody to the Lions Den. All right, so we're going to go to Lord Abba. Once again, we're still in the opening statement part of this debate. I see we have more and more people calling into the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. So let's go to Lord Abba. Once again, it's 15 minutes for the opening statement. Let me open up his phone line. Lord Abba, you can go ahead.
Islam. Now, I sat here, and it was actually painful to listen to this brother cite nothing but a bunch of his own opinion, what he felt or believed, what our connection to Morocco or lack thereof even is. I heard nothing that made a case for the topic of this particular subject other than this man's own opinions. And I believe this type of scholarship has to end. Many of our people, they just simply believe that Prophet Noble Drew Ali made all of this stuff up. And the sad part is that they themselves have never really looked into any of these claims, and I know I used to be one of them. Prophet Noble Drew Ali teaches us that the Moorish Americans, meaning all of our people here in the West, are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. So we see right here that what Prophet Noble Drew Ali is explaining to you the dominion of the ancient Moors. He's speaking about the whole northwestern and southwestern portion of Africa. And he's not just confining our people to Morocco. So that's kind of a strike against what this brother is saying. Based on what he said, it's obvious he just really didn't study just a bunch of opinions. But I want to go to the words of our prophet. On the prologue of our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, also called the Circle 7 Quran, on page 3, we read, "The industrious acts of the Muslims of the northwest and southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hamathites, Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. At one point, most of northwest and southwest Africa was called Mauritania, or the land of the Moors. And this was given its name by the Greeks who came to the land and encountered the people that introduced themselves as Moors here. Got to think about the alphabet that the Greeks had, and a part of their language came from the ancient Canaanite alphabet, whom historians write as Phoenicians, a Greek word. According to Claudius Ptolemy's map of ancient Mauritania, 150 BC, Mauritania actually stretched as far east as Libya and as far south as Nigeria. So this would include all of the nations that we know of today as Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, the Ivory Coast, Liberia, Mali, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, etc. All of this was ancient Mauritania, or the land of the Moors. These are the people that came from the ancient land of Canaan, like many tribes like the Hausa, the Oyo, the Yoruba tribes, the tribes in Burkina Faso, the Mosi. All of these different tribes speak of this Eastern origin. I had Sister Dana Marnici, archaeologist, anthropologist, ethnologist, who wrote the article in the book, The Golden Age of the Moors by Ivan Van Sertima, on my blog talk show. I interviewed her, and she confirmed these very things. I'm not here to just give you my opinion. These are things that most of you, if you follow any of my works, have seen me document. If you have not followed any of my works and are not familiar with them, please visit my website, www.morissciencetemple.org. It'll take you to several links and videos where I've written many expositions breaking down this very information. These people, as I said, they came from ancient Canaan. So in order to qualify and quantify these claims that Prophet Noble Drew Ali made, we have to look into the historical records. So according to the book, The Moorish Empire, a Historical Epitome by Budget Meekin, written in the year of 1899, on page 10, we read, 1,000 years after the voyage of Hanno, a Roman scribe, Procopius of Caesarea, secretary to Belisarius and Justinian's Vandal War in Africa, wrote that in his day there existed near Tangier 2 white columns of stone by a gushing spring. On these were inscribed in the Phoenician language, "We have fled before the face of Joshua, the robber, son of Nun." Procopius explains that the inhabitants of these parts were descendant from the Canaanites, expelled before the children of Israel, whom he appears to have confused with the early Phoenician settlers. But whatever the truth may have been, the Arab historians also attribute a Canaanitish origin to the Berbers, assigning a more recent date for their expulsion. You see, the historical authenticity of this claim is actually attributed to Moses of Corinth, who was the first to make note of these claims 100 years before Procopius. This same account was cited by the famous Italian historian and politician that we all know as Niccolò Machiavelli. In the book Machiavelli, The Chief Works and Others by Niccolò Machiavelli by Alan H. Gilbert, on page 346, we read, "Because I have said above that sometimes such people are driven from their own abodes by war, by which they are obliged to seek new lands, I wish to bring up the instance of the Morusi, Roman name for Moors, a people anciently in Syria," one of the names of ancient Canaan. Observing the Hebrew people come and judging, they could not resist them. The Morusi thought that they would be wiser to save themselves by leaving their own country rather than attempting to save it, to lose themselves with it. So he's attesting to what Prophet Noble Drew Ali is saying, that Joshua, a.k.a. the Hebrews, drove out the actual inhabitants of ancient Canaan. He continues, hence, departing with their families, they went into Africa. Prophet Noble Drew Ali says that that old man Cush and his father Ham came from the land of Canaan and inhabited Africa. It says, they went into Africa to make their abode, driving away the inhabitants they found there. He said nobody was living in Morocco at that time. Well, history proves the opinions of Chief X wrong. The men, unable to defend their own country, were able to conquer that of others. Procopius, who writes of the war Belisarius fought against the Vandals, conquerors of Africa, reports that he read letters where on certain columns in places where the Morusi lived, it said, "We are the Morusi," the Moors, "who fled before the face of Joshua, the robber son of Nun. In this appears the cause of their departure from Syria, i.e. ancient Canaan." You see, many early sources cite the same exact instances by varying the names, the Phoenician, Canaanite, and Moors, which was engraved on these ancient columns. So we have a historical, contemporaneous account of what's going on, not the mere opinions of some guy that's just behind a YouTube camera. Now, notice that Prophet Noble Drew Ali said in later years they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. Of course, a powerhouse empire is going to form its capital near the coast. And this is what happened when Islam came upon the scene. Up until recent times, all of the sultans of Morocco claimed direct lineal descent to Prophet Muhammad. For instance, the sultan who signed the 50-year mandate that most of us believe to be a treaty with the sons of Europe, claimed descent from the Prophet Muhammad through the line of Ali and Fatima, the Prophet's daughter. So, you know, a lot of the things that a lot of these guys say, they are completely without merit and they're unfounded. They're just a bunch of polemical repeats of Christian writers, and most of it, like we just heard Chief X break down, is based on their own opinions and interpretation of what they believe to be facts. Now, this plays into the unique origins of the Moors, but specifically in Morocco. According to the book, The Moors in Spain, by an author named Florian, we read on pages 19 to 20. The origin of the Moors or Mauritanians is like that of most other ancient nations, obscure, and in the information we possess concerning their history, confusedly mingled with fables. The fact, however, appears to be established that Asiatic immigrations were from the earliest times made into Africa. You see, Asia only is an orientation. That means those who come from the east. In addition to this, the historians of remote ages speak of a certain Melik Yafrik, king of Arabia Felix, who conducted a people called Asabai into Libya. Remember, Libya is anciently the northern portions of Africa. He made himself master of that country, established his followers there, and gave it the name of Africa. So this is where the name Africa comes from, this ancient Moor that came from Arabia. It is from these Sabians or Sabai that the principal Moorish tribes pretend to trace their descent. Remember, these are European Christians writing, so they're trying to discredit us at the same time. The derivation of the name Moors is also supposed in some degree to confirm the impression that they came from Asia. Why? Because Meru was anciently situated in Asia, and all of the world's earliest history, the Garden of Eden myth, all of these stem from an ancient mythoid that states that all of the early men were men of Meru. I have an exposition on my Google blog spot called The Moors Who Came from the Sacred Mount Meru. I urge you all to read that. But without enlarging upon these ancient statements, let it suffice to say that nearly certain grounds exist for the belief that the original Moors were Arabians. And I'm going to stop that quote right there. Original Arabians were Moors. And they would let you know that if you did not have dark brown skin, falsely called black, that you were not considered a true Arab. Dr. Wesley Muhammad has noted these things over and over again, not based on his opinion, but based on contemporaneous documentation from what we know today as medieval times. The Muslim historiographer and historian Ibn Khaldun, who died in 1406 AD, who has been deemed as a biased and racist scholar by some critics of his works, including myself, gave his own interpretation, obviously borrowing from the biblical accounts and the diffusion of Euro-Hellenistic thought with Islamic scholarship as to the reason why the Moors or Berbers were dark-complexioned. He writes, Ham, having become black because of a curse pronounced against him by his father, fled to the Maghreb to hide in shame. Berber, son of Kesluhim, one of his descendants, left numerous posterity in the Maghreb, and that source is Richard Smith, 2003's work, What Happened to the Ancient Libyans, Chasing Sources Across the Sahara, from Herodotus to Ibn Khaldun, Journal of World History, Volume 14, Section 4, page 482. What is interesting to note, and what I just cited, is that Berber is specifically being called a son of Kasluhim, one of the descendants of Ham, who is falsely depicted as black. This was obviously done in the characteristics of the etiological myths to let it be known that these same Kasluhim, these Kasluhites that we find mentioned in the Bible at Genesis 10:14 and 1 Chronicles 1:12 were the descendants of Misraim, and the connection of the Berber language to the ancient Egyptian spoken tongue proves this. As I mentioned earlier, all of the African tribes are Moors, who are Moabites from the ancient land of Canaan, and most of them are aware of their Moabite roots. According to the Library of Congress's subject headings by Library of Congress Cataloging and Policy and Support Office, which was published in 2005, it says Moab, African people, use Moba, African language, Moab language, use Moba language. There are many people on the west coast of Africa that speak this Moba or Moab or Mori, Moor language. So Morocco will become the seat of power, and in this we get an understanding that the Europeans got their mandate from these particular Moors. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali explains to us that we are the true and divine possessors of this land. This is why certain Moors on this land who knew their historical lineage were able to write the Sultan of Morocco, and the Sultan of Morocco would tell the U.S. free him. Just like we see with Prince Abdul Rahman. I mean, we have so many historical facts. Of course, I obviously can't get into it all right now, but we have clear proof. The Moors were driven out by the thousands. They migrated to South Carolina after fleeing the persecution. Hundreds of thousands of them. You can find this in a book called History of the Conquest of Spain by the Arab Moors.
All right, time is up. Once again, you're listening to Debate Talk for You Radio. The number is 646-716-7320. For those people that are just joining into the show, the title of this debate, Moors versus Morocco. Why do American Moors claim Morocco? Moors versus Morocco. Why do American Moors claim Morocco? My special guest is Lord Abba versus Chief X. This is the first ever Moors versus Pan-African debate on Debate Talk for You Radio. I appreciate everybody that's in attendance right now, checking it out via phone, via Skype, and all over social media. By the way, we have the chat room is open, guys. For those people that don't know, we have a chat room. If you want to gain access to the chat room, you have to go directly to the website, www.blogtalkradio.com/Debate Talk for You, and scroll down at the bottom. You'll see a small box there. You can interact with me, or you can interact with the people that's already inside the chat room. So now we're going to the rebuttal part of this debate. That's going to be 10 minutes each. We're going to go back to Chief X. We're going to open up his phone line, and go ahead.
Thank you, Sal. That was a bunch of botched up misinformation, playing with words, cities, towns, and states, okay? The topic is, why do American Moors claim Morocco? He kept pushing and saying Canaan an Asiatic at least 10 times. He's telling you, and Noble Drew Ali's telling you where they originate and where they're from. Not really, but this is just what he's saying that these people, that the Moors are from. Lord Abba continuously pushed Canaan. And I tried to warn people before we got started, don't let him play geography games and word games with you. Everyone knows Canaan, where Canaan is. That's where he's from. That's what Noble Drew Ali said they're from. He said they're Asiatic. Everyone knows where Asia is. What does that got to do with Morocco on the other side, 5,000 miles away across Africa? I clearly broke down Moroccan history from 1000 BC and told you who was there. Nobody was there prior to 1000 BC. I don't care where you look it up. I didn't make this up. Look it up yourself. Okay? I told you it was a Roman Empire in the 2nd century. No Moors there. No Africans running nothing, originating anywhere there. 5th century Roman Empire. And then the Visigoths and the Vandals came and ran things. Those are not African people. Those are not Moorish people. Moors didn't get there till 700 A.D. There was someone else before them. The only reason they're claiming to be Moroccan and embracing this Moroccan history is because Noble Drew Ali said we're from Morocco. But he's all over the place. You're from Morocco, you're from Canaan, you're from the land of Moab, you're Asiatic. You're not all these things, and these are two separate places. We just got to use some common sense here. Okay? The first state in Morocco was in about 769 A.D. It became an Islamic state. The only thing that Lord Abba proved and said today was that the Moors were basically black and dark-skinned people. And he harped on that the Moabs are also dark-skinned people, which I have no problem with that. That's just off topic. The Moabs are not Moroccans. It's simple. Moab has nothing even to do with the word Moor. It just has an M on it. When you say Moab, Ab means father. It's Islamic. It's Father Abraham. A Moabite is a son of Lot. Lot is the nephew of Abraham. Abraham. That's all. Where's Abraham from? The land of Ur. All that is West Asia. Asiatic, Iraq, all over there. It's nothing to do with Morocco. Noble Drew Ali miseducated the people. Whether he was lying or he was just confused, because people didn't know nothing in 1900. People were searching for something. They were looking for an identity to latch on to. But the thing about it, there was never a land called Moorland. There was never anything called a Moorish empire ever in history. Where? You had a group of people who were termed Moor by Europeans. They didn't even call themselves Moors. Traveled from being enslaved by Arabs starting in the late 600s, crossed the Sahara. They weren't even seafaring people. That's a myth. They crossed land. They didn't sail to Spain. They crossed the land all throughout the Arab slave trade. So what you have is, it's like me and Sal go rob or jack some Mexicans and group them all up. We grouped up about 50 Mexicans. And it's just me, too, and Sal. It's just me and Sal. So Moor's army and the majority of their people is a mix of Arab and African mix, because Arabs were screwing African women and having babies, and those babies were mixed. They were African-Arab mixed. Okay? And the babies had allegiance to their daddy, who was the Arab. Arabs ran the conquering of Spain. But the majority of the soldiers and crew were black and dark-skinned and mixed. But it was ran and led by an Arab leader. Wherever you see the Fez and people, they were always servants. They were servants to the Arabs. They were servants to the Eurasians. So a group of people termed Moors conquered, but it wasn't a nationality ever. It never was a nationality because it never was a nation. What nation? They just got to Morocco and Spain in 700. They wasn't there before. We got to use common sense here. The official language of Morocco is Berber and Arabic. It's no African language there in Morocco. 99% of Morocco right now is Arab and Berber. And Berber's majority, 45%, check the stats. I'm not making it up. Google it. The base stock of Berber is 45% Arab. 30%, 45% Eurasian, 30% Arab, and a small percentage of Africans. So they have a dark hue. Abba only proved that Moors were black. They were just an army running up in Spain. Okay? The language of Morocco is Arab, not African. It's only 1% African in Morocco right now. They never ran nothing in Morocco. They went up in Spain and civilized Spain with the knowledge that they took from Nile Valley civilization throughout the slave trade, and as they was being enslaved, they was educating the Arab, and they was help. A blackamoor is also a figurine. It's not a people. A blackamoor, look it up, is an art figurine. And it's an art figurine of a servant. You'll always see him with plates of food and serving people because the Arab was his daddy and running him. Now, there were some Moors and free Moors all throughout Spain doing big things, teaching and things like that, but there was also a lot of enslaved Moors. And you was termed a Moor whether you was Muslim, Christian, or whatever you were. Okay? So my point is, they claim Morocco because Noble Drew Ali said that your origin is from Morocco and you come from Morocco. But at the same time, he's switching up, talking about they coming from Canaan. It's confusion. Morocco wasn't a land that Africans really wanted. I keep telling people that. West Africans didn't run up in Morocco and play around there. It wasn't nothing there. It was mountains. It only became an Arab state when the Arabs came up in there after the slave trade and conquered Spain along with Africans. That's it. Now, if you want to attach to that and call yourself a Moor because another people called you Moor, I don't understand that. But it's not a nation. It's not a nationality because you got to have a nation to have a nationality. It's just a term given to a group of people at a certain period in history. And it was first coined around 350 AD by Romans. No African people called themselves Moors. No people in the Americas called themselves Moors. There was no Moors in America prior to Columbus. There were black Africans here. People have been looking for a savior figure, and they latched on to Noble Drew Ali at a time where people didn't know any better, and that was the only thing jumping off. They needed something. It was cool for its time period, but it's not cool for today. It's ridiculous today. We African people. We're not Moroccan. Moroccans know nothing even about Moorish Science Temple of America.
I hope you guys are taking down your notes. There's a lot of information being put out there tonight by both special guests. Once again, today's debate is entitled Moors versus Morocco. Why do American Moors claim Morocco? Why do American Moors claim Morocco? My special guest is Lord Abba versus Chief X. The number is 646-716-7320. And I see people pressing the number 1 already. For those that are new to the show, we open up the phone lines to the people out there that's checking out the Debate Talk for You. And you can let your voice be heard with your questions and your comments by dialing that number, 646-716-7320. If you want to guarantee your slot so your voice can be heard, you can call in right now and press the number 1 and just stand by for the public Q&A. We like hearing from the people out here. So, once again, the number is 646-716-7320. But let's go to Lord Abba with his rebuttal. That's going to be 10 minutes each. Let me open up his phone line. Lord Abba, you can go ahead.
Islam. I mean, I'm sitting here, and, you know, a debate like this is really hard to get up for when I hear the brother reiterate certain points, and he's not citing any references. He's only giving us opinions, and the things that he's saying, they just absolutely make no sense to me. I've already proved that the Moors came from the Moors that established that dynasty, that bloodline that accepted Islam. They came from ancient Arabia. I used several different sources. He said that no Moors were in America. If you find a book called A Bridge to Light, Spiritual Wayfaring in Islam by a woman named Kathleen St. Ange, she notes how in the British records that English settlers came over here in the early 1600s, and they settled in North Carolina, and they came across a group of men who called themselves Moors, who bent down, got on their knees to pray, and they were proficient in iron smelting. The laws in North Carolina, the laws in Georgia, Virginia, not Florida per se, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. There were laws all in their records all throughout the 1700s and even as early as the 1600s, speaking about Moors. These were people that knew that they were Moors. So his claim that Moors weren't here, there were no Moors in America, I don't think the brother understands really what a Moor is. And I think that's where a lot of his confusion comes from. And he wants to lead you astray by throwing a lot of slight ad hominems, if you will, and red herrings. When you look at, I have a note on Facebook. For those of you that are on my friends list or can access my Facebook page, it's Abba Lord. Pull me up. I have a note called The Africans Came from Canaan, Asia. A few historical references. In the particular note, the only thing that I'm doing is I'm listing all of the different historical references. Like I'll read when it says, in St. Athanasius' time, the Africans still said they were descended from the ancient Canaanites. And it is said that the Punic tongue was almost entirely the same with the Canaanitish and Hebrew languages. This comes from the New Encyclopedia or Universal Dictionary of Arts and Sciences. Forgive me, I didn't cite the year. My next source, the Babylonian Talmud, we know that dates back thousands of years. It was translated in 1918 by a man named Michael L. Rockinson. Again, it says the rabbis taught on the 24th of Nisan that the contractors of duty were taken off from Judah and Israel. This was when the Africans summoned Israel before Alexander of Macedonia, claiming that the land of Canaan belonged to them. And, you know, it gives the whole breakdown. Genesis, the so-called Jews, those Europeans that call them Jews today that our ancient Moorish brothers were fighting with, the only doctrine they had at the time was the doctrine of Joshua. So Alexander asks the Moors, these Africans, these Canaanites, give me your proof, and they use the Torah. Well, the so-called Jews, the Joshuaites, they said, well, we'll use the same. We'll use our Torah to prove that this is our land now. And he used Genesis 9:25, and he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. Now, To whom belongs the estate of a slave, if not to his master? From Babylon to Timbuktu, page 52, it says, the Hebrew ethnologists used the eponymous name Ham because they were conscious of the fact that many of Ham's descendants traveled from Asia, meaning the east, toward the south and inhabited the continent we know of today as Africa. I mean, I already cited Ibn Khaldun stating that, like, I am actually citing references. Here's another one, the etymologies of Isidore of Seville, who lived during the medieval times. He states there were 4 sons of Ham whom sprang the following nations: Cush, from whom the Ethiopians were begotten; Misraim, Egypt, from whom the Egyptians are said to have risen; Put, from the Libyans, whence the river of Mauritania is called Put still to this day, and the whole region around it is called Phoenicis. Finally, Canaan, from whom descended the Africans and the Phoenicians and the 10 tribes of Canaanites. I mean, I can keep going on and on. Among the descendants of Sudan, son of Canaan, are many nations, among them Ishban, the Zanj, and many peoples that multiplied in the Maghreb, about 70 of them. They differ in their customs, and have kings. And this was taken from the French translation of the Akbar al-Zaman of the 11th century, published in 1898. I mean, I have a whole slew of references. Again, I want to state that Morocco became the seat of power in Islam. Why did Morocco become the seat of power in Islam and not Arabia? Because the bloodline, the original Arabs, who are the Moors, transplanted themselves in North Africa. It's not about the geography, it is about the people. If you look up in a law dictionary and they're breaking down nation, which most of our people don't do, they're ignorant to anything that has to do with law and claim that they descend from kings and queens. Well, kings and queens had laws, and we're living under laws now. But nevertheless, it says a nation is any people that speak the same language and have the same customs and have a historical continuity. What is the original name of Morocco? It's Marab. Where do we find this at? We find this in the medieval literature, like Carla Magnus, the Adventures of Charlemagne, that was produced by Periphery, retranslated in 1972 or 1975. And in the book, it's translating the records from these medieval times. It is saying the ungodly Moabites and Saracens came and destroyed their cities and forced the people to convert. But next to Moabite, it has a footnote number. When you go to the footnote number, it says Moabites, Almoravids. In that same book, when you go to the glossary of proper names, it says for Morocco, it says Marab, Maroc, and then Morocco. Maroc is the French word to where we get the English word Morocco from today. But the original name is Maroc. Those of you whom are practitioners of the Hebrew Israelite doctrine or the Israelite doctrine that know any Hebrew, you know that when you read the name Moab, there's M-O, then there's an apostrophe A-B or an apostrophe A-V. That apostrophe is a phoneme. That phoneme or a phoneme represents the smallest possible unit in a sound. So we get the word mo apostrophe ab. Well, what does that apostrophe pronunciate? It pronunciates an R. So again, we have mo r ab or ma r ab, Morab, which is the self-same as Moab, which is the self-same as Al-Morab or the Morab or Al-Moravid. It means belonging to a people. So everything that the brother Chief X said is extremely crazy. He said that the Morocco knows nothing about the Moorish Science Temple of America. In 1986, Morocco sent a delegation to the Moorish Science Temple of America when Prophet Noble Drew Ali's wife died, left a proclamation and said, we do know and understand the relationship between the Moors of America and of Morocco. The Moors await your relationship. A Moor was caught in Toledo, Ohio, with a rifle, and he let it be known that, these are basically my people. This is why I'm over here organizing with them, because my country is at war. I have the articles to all of this information. In the book, J.A. Rogers' book, World's Greatest Men of Color, or something to that effect. On page 110 it reads, many American Negroes are indistinguishable from Arabs. The New York Times reports at a meeting between President Roosevelt and King Ibn Suwad. It was a matter of considerable astonishment of the king's servants to discover American Negro cooks and mess.
All right, once again, you're listening to Debate Talk for You Radio, and you're officially inside the Lion's Den. That's right. Hopefully, you guys, like I said, take down your notes. For me, it's about the information out there, and hopefully, you guys are taking down notes from both sides, both opponents, and it's all about doing your own independent research. All right, guys, so now we're going into the cross-examination part of this debate, where each opponent has prepared some questions to ask one another. The person answering the question will have 1 minute to answer the question. And once you go over the 1 minute mark, you're going to hear this sound. And then it's on to the next question. Once again, each opponent has 10 minutes each. And we're going to start off with, Chief X asking questions to Lord Abba. Then we open up their phone lines, and Chief X, you can ask your questions. Go ahead.
Okay, Chief X back. Let me ask Lord Abba a few questions, because he keeps pumping Ham in Moab and talking about him making up stuff. Anybody can look up Moab. Anybody can look up Moabite and see what area that is. Anybody can look up Canaan and see where that area is. Anybody can look up Ham, the fictitious story, and see where that area is. It's far from Morocco. So let me ask Lord Abba, I don't know why he's trying to correlate Canaan to Morocco like it's the same thing. But anyway, you mentioned Ham in Moab. Are those historical people, not biblical? They're in the Bible. Are they historical people to you? And can you prove that? Is Ham a person, or is Ham a people? I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, that's easy. When we're dealing from the biblical context, we know that the characters. Hello?
We didn't from the Bible.
Am I answering the question there?
Yeah, he has a minute to answer.
Okay, if we're looking at it from the biblical perspective, we know that the characters are what's known as eponymus. That means one individual is made to represent a whole people. So we know for a fact that Ham and Moab are not a physical, actual person, but a people. Moab, for instance, we find transliterations on the Moabite stone of Mesha. How do we connect Moab and Arabia and Morocco, for instance? What was the ancient capital of the dark-skinned, woolly-haired Sabians of Arabia? Mar'ib. What is the capital or the name of Morocco? The original name, it's Mar'ab. The Ab and Ib, just like in the Egyptian, that A and that I is interchangeable. So to answer your question, these are a people. We have historical documentation. This is what the Christian writers are calling these Moors that are invading their realm. I have videos up. I have notes proving this.
Next question.
I'm a Hamite. Oh, my God. Okay. You even said this yourself, Abba, and I just want to get to the etymology of Morocco. Morocco is an English name and originates respectively from, and you said this yourself, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. Okay? Is Spanish and French African?
Please rephrase your question. I don't know what you mean, beloved.
The etymology of Morocco. Let's just
okay.
And when we talk about languages and things like that, and languages come from the people.
Mm-hmm.
So names of words and cities tells you what people landed and named it.
Mm-hmm.
Morocco is an English name that originates respectively from Spanish and Portuguese. Morocco, okay, which is derived from Marrakesh, okay. It's Spanish and Portuguese words, Morocco and Morocco. These are not African words. Morocco is not an African name. And we know that 90% of us came from West Africa, okay? The names are nothing even African. So how do you explain the origin of Morocco and Spain being African? And is it Morocco an African name, or is it Spanish and Portuguese? This has nothing to do with African people.
Well, popular usage is like we call boxing today. We call it boxing, but its original name was pugilism. Abyssinia. Where does the word Abyssinia come from? Many cite that Abyssinia comes from a Portuguese corruption of the word Al-Habisha or Al-Habish, the people originally from that region. So the original name of Morocco is Mar'ab, as the ancient records show, as I just noted. So of these people, which look just like you and me, and we know that, well, I don't know if you know, but I know based on my intense research that the original Africans were the people that came from Arabia, settled the region, and gave it that name. So for you to say that Morocco is not an African name, well, that's correct, because the people that wrote and draw maps, they call things in their tongues, basically, but we know that its original name is Marab, and that it has been conquered time and time over.
Next question, Dad. Next question.
His original name is not Marab.
You prove it.
Yeah, come on now.
Prove it.
This is just a simple question. Before the Moors conquered Spain and Morocco, who was there, Lord Abba? Why did they have to come? Did they come with? Okay, the Moors are not going to come to Morocco and Spain to conquer their own people, so it was another people there. Before the Moors conquered Spain and Morocco, who was there?
Well, when you look at Moroccan cave art, dates all the way back earliest 3000 BC, I think 4000 BC as well. We see certain cave art. We can see the ethnicity of the people that were there. And it's quite possible, because a lot of archaeologists are not even sure, that there was always a mixture because of the close proximity of Europe and North Africa. Nevertheless, the Moors saw a weaker people there, and according to the prophet, was given this particular dominion by the pharaohs of Egypt, who ruled over the dominion of the geographical location called Africa, and wherever else the Egyptians had their reach at the time under that specific empire. So according to a lot of skull finds and cave art, there were various peoples over various...
Go ahead, Chief. Go ahead. Until you hear that sound,
Okay.
go to the next question.
You just didn't really. I'm going to the next question. You really just didn't want to say Spanish and Eurasian people. You just really didn't want to say that, but that's okay. Okay, because the people don't come conquer their own people. They conquer another people. Okay, and we know that Europeans came down from the north, Europe, and when they trickled down, they landed on that tip of Spain. And you can backstroke from Spain to Morocco. That's how close it is. They're just neighbors. You know what I mean? You can whistle and they'll hear you. Okay? So it was Eurasian people there. I don't know why you want to look over the Eurasian fact and the fact that Berbers are majority Eurasian. It was Eurasian and Spanish people there. Not Black American Moors. Not either. Arabs got there a little later. It was okay. Lord Abba, what's my next question? Are Moors an ancient Moabite, and we know the time frame for the Moabites, okay, in the Bible. They're they're BC people, Moabites. How can they be the founders of Mecca when Mecca wasn't here until the 3rd century?
Okay.
How can Moabites
question.
find a place that didn't exist?
Okay. Now, first and foremost, I have a note called the Moors, who are the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca, connecting the critical dots. I have one up on my Google blog spot, and I have the note also on Facebook. For those of you that want a detailed explanation, please go there. The spoken language of the Quraysh tribe, the tribe of Prophet Muhammad, was the Mudar language. They lived in a region called the Wadi Canania, or the Valley of Canaan, in Arabia. This language, Mudar, was the language that the Quran of Mecca was revealed in. This language spawned the Hebrew, the Syriac, and the Aramaic, in which we get the Arabic from today. Is just a continuation of one tongue. So the people that founded Mecca were the Moabites. One of the ancient names of Mecca is Mesha. Mesha is listed as a god of Moab on the Moabite stone and in the biblical context.
All right, time is up. All right, we're going to go to now Lord Abba. He's going to ask his questions to Chief X. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. After this cross-examination, we're going to take an 8-minute intermission break. And after that, we're going to go to the people, the public Q&A. That's for you, the listening audience. We're calling with your questions and your comments, by dialing that number, 646-716-7320. I see we have people pressing the number 1. I mean, if you want to let your voice be heard, make sure you press the number 1 right now and stand by for the public Q&A. But let's go to Lord Abba. Once again, he's going to ask questions to Chief X. We'll open up the phone lines, and go ahead, Lord Abba.
Islam. Okay, first question. I have so many, and I'm going to try to just do a couple. First one, you said that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was born in 1886 in North Carolina. This is a fact. We have this in our lessons. He wrote that himself. You made it appear as if the Prophet said that he came from Morocco, by your own words. My question to you is, what proof, what evidence do you have that Prophet Noble Drew Ali claimed to be from Morocco?
I didn't say he claimed that he was born in Morocco. I actually said Noble Drew Ali born in North Carolina, 1886. He claimed.
You did say that. Mm-hmm.
I don't recall saying that. I recall saying that I'm looking at what I said right here. He was born in North Carolina in 1886. I said he's from the Dirty South. You remember? He's from the Dirty South.
I was saying you did say that, definitely.
Okay. Well, maybe you misunderstood. What I said is he said he was from. He said his nationality, him and his people, are descendants of Morocco. And at the same time, say he's descendants of Moab and Canaan and all that, which is two separate places, and it's confusion.
Okay, so, Oh, go ahead, brother. I forgot about you. You have a minute. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, yeah. So, he was...
Yeah, apologize.
Yeah, you can finish. Go ahead. Just finish your quick explanation.
You can finish up. Good.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying he's from North Carolina. Okay? He's from the Dirty South, I said. And moved to Chicago. So what I'm trying to say is he has nothing to do with Morocco. I don't know who even told him that he was from Morocco. But he said this. No one taught him that. He made it.
Okay. Definitely. Okay. I've done several videos on YouTube, like video books, if you will, video dissertations. I have many notes on my Google, Lord Abba at blogspot.com. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly because I want the people to do the research. LordAbba.blogspot.com. I break these things down with historical information, not any opinion. And the reason why I asked you that question was because you, even though you said he was born in 1886, you tried to make it seem as if he was lying because he then made the claim that he came from Morocco. So if I misunderstood that, pardon me. Now,
okay.
you said that Prophet Noble Drew Ali being born in North Carolina, he had a Christian background. What proof can you give to back up that claim?
Well, no one of us were there, and common sense can tell you that in 1886, black folk in America, especially all around the dirty South, was Christian folk. We wasn't embracing no Islam at that time. We all know that. That's just common sense. So if he was born from some black folks in the South, he was more than likely Christian because his literature and his teaching is all Judeo-Christian based. Israel and Moabites are related. You know what I mean? The land of Canaan, Israel. That's all Christian Judeo talk. Asiatic, the Holy Land in Mecca. That's Christian Judeo and Islamic talk. Okay? That's West Asia talk. You know what I mean? So I'm saying he was Christian because that's what he came up with. Because he wasn't always claiming a Moor when he was 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15 years old. He just jumped that off and made it up. He's starting to move. So basically, you're just making up a history for Prophet Noble Drew Ali for the people because you have no proof. You're guessing. This is a question. You're guessing that he was a Christian because Christians lived in North Carolina, correct? What I'm saying is, no one here can tell you what he was because we weren't there. The movement made up a history for him. He made a history up for himself. He says he gets the Quran.
But the question, let me just get back to the question.
He tells his whole story.
Okay, that's understandable. The question is, are you just guessing that he was a Christian, yes or no?
You know, through very serious common sense, I'm guessing he was Christian. As I said, no one knows for sure because we weren't there. All we can do is take a man who puts his pants on like me's word for things when he starts the movement, means and that and that, and giving instructions to a people who are illiterate. Half the people were barely reading. They take anything that sounds good and sounds black and gives them some pride. Okay? So, I mean, I'm guessing more than likely he was Christian. We weren't anything else at that
time. Do I go on with the next question, Sal?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah, as soon as you stop, you can go to the next question. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Man, okay. You said that the Romans or Greeks never spoke about Mecca or you know, I'm guessing that specific area or region. But I know that you said that they had never spoke about Mecca. Which literature have you read in that regard that backs up your claims that the Romans or the Greeks never spoke about Mecca?
We'll do this. You can research any literature, Google anywhere you want. Mecca is not mentioned in any Greek or Roman writing. That's a fact. You can search high and low. They didn't speak of a Mecca. They didn't write of a Mecca because there was no Mecca. It didn't get here to the 4th century. It's a new city relatively to history. Okay? It's not on any ancient map prior to the 4th century. You can't find Mecca on any map prior to the 4th century. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. I done done this study and research. I know. Okay? Mecca's new. No Moabites was no keepers of no ancient Mecca. It's not an ancient city. It's not the root of civilization. Africa is the root of civilization, and specifically the Nile Valley.
Okay, next question. You cited that the Moors taught the Arabs who enslaved them, right? You said that the Arabs captured the Moors, and then the Moors, in turn, turned around and taught these same Arabs. And they went into Spain and they took Spain. What source are you citing from?
Have you heard of the Arab slave trade?
Yes, I have. I've researched it intently. Dr. Wesley Muhammad did an excellent exposition on that as well.
Right. So, what does that mean? I heard the bell.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
What's your question? Real quick, again, the question.
The Moors taught the Arabs who enslaved them. This is how they learned how to do whatever it was they did. What proof do you have?
I got you. Well, in flight, Africans was taking flight from Roman rule, European rule in ancient Egypt, and later took flight from the rule of the Arabs. These people were enemies to Africa and trying to rule and coming to Africa. So when people were taking flight, they scattered to different places. Okay. When the Arab slave trade began, they captured Africans. These people weren't Moors; they were Africans. Okay. And when they captured Africans, these Africans were wise people. They had knowledge of, the Nile Valley. They were intelligent people. Okay. So they taught the barbarian Arabs who was capturing them, and they spread and shared knowledge. Some were friends, some were slaves. They just shared knowledge. The Arabs didn't come with the Africans had it.
Next question.
You said that Blackamoor was never considered a people but a figurine. Where are you deriving this particular information from?
Okay, anyone can Google Blackamoor. It'll tell you an art figurine. It's an art figurine of a Moor black head. Okay? It's also jewelry with the head of a black Moor. So they call it black Moor. They're jewelry pieces. Now, some people mistakenly and disrespectfully, they look at that blackamoor. And the misinformation about what a blackamoor is came about as it's a people.
All right, 10 minutes is up. Once again, guys, I know you guys are enjoying this particular debate right now, Debate Talk Free Radio. A lot of powerful information out there, edifying information. And once again, later on, we're going to go to the public Q&A. You guys, we're going to hear from the people, hear what you guys got to say. The number is 646-716-7320. When you call in, if you have a question, just press the number 1. And we want to hear what you guys got to say. But right now, we're going to take an 8-minute intermission break. Let the guys relax for a little while, And we're going to come back actually with a second rebuttal. And after that, then it's going to be the public Q&A. So once again, don't you go nowhere, guys. We're going to take an 8-minute intermission break. We'll be right back after these messages. Make sure you share this on social media. Let people know that Debate Talk for You is still in the air, guys. So don't you go nowhere. We'll be right back. So we're going to go to the second rebuttal part of this debate. And once again, you heard all the shout-outs. If you want to send me a shout-out, and I'll play it live in the air, just go to debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. That's the email. Debatetalk, the number 4, and the letter U @gmail.com. Just keep it under 1 minute, and I'll play your shout-out, show that love, let me know, what you think about the show. I appreciate everybody checking out Debate Talk Free Radio. But let's get into the second rebuttal right now, and after that, we're going to go to the people, the public Q&A. So, that's my favorite part of the show. Can't wait to hear from you guys, see what you guys got to say about this debate. Let's go to Chief X right now with the second rebuttal. Open up his phone line, and go ahead.
How much time do I have, Sal?
7 minutes.
I couldn't hear you.
7 minutes.
Okay. This is Chief X again. So, basically, Lord Abba hasn't proved we're from Morocco. Well, he has proved that we're Moabites, that we're from Canaan. Okay? That's all he's proved. And all the other thing he's proved is that the Moors were dark or black people, which I agree with. But he's proved nothing about us being from Morocco or that being our nationality. And I told you why American Moors claim Morocco. Because of miseducation and because Noble Drew Ali said so. In which Noble Drew Ali is never a scholar. He never taught at no universities and colleges, and he wasn't a history teacher. He was a religious leader. It's a difference between a historian and a religious leader. Okay? A religious leader is trying to get followers and members. Followers and members equal money. The more followers, the more money. For members, the more money. That's the angle of a religious leader. So his information may be skewed for the sake of getting money. You understand what I'm saying? So, if it's not a major world religion, it's a spinoff. Nation of Islam, Moorish Science Temple, are spinoff of Islam, of Orthodox Islam. They are all organizations that people in the 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s want to attach themselves to because wasn't nothing else around but Christianity. And European Christianity wasn't sitting right with folks, searching and seeking for something to attach to, all while not having information and knowledge at their hand, not knowing history, all while looking for a savior figure. Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Father Allah, these are savior figures. These are religious or cult leaders. The cult is the same thing to me. Cult and religion is the same thing. One's bigger, one's smaller. Okay? And all of them want followers and members because members and followers bring money. None of them teach history at all. Nation of Islam doesn't teach history. It's black nationalism mixed with Christianity. And the Moorish Science Temple is a organization started by Noble Drew Ali, and Noble Drew Ali is no authority on history. He's no authority on biblical history. I don't care what he said. I'm a respecting. I don't care what he said, and what he said we came from. He's not my authority, and he never was a historian. He made a lot of stuff up, bottom line. He told the people they were something that they weren't, when they should have been told that they were African people. Not Moabites, not Hamites, not Canaanites, none of that West Asian stuff. They should have been told that they were African people. Okay? Let's just keep it real. Okay? I also have a little genetics here. Okay? Most Arabs and Berbers are mostly of Berber origin and Arab. I don't know why Lord Abba wants to attach to Arabism so much. For some reason, black folks searching for identity always want to side with the slave master, and I always want to side with this mix of people, and they want to side with that. I never understood it. Okay, Berbers are not pure African. Everybody here in America, all these black Moors I know grew up in the same hood I grew up in. They my homies, Tim, Bob, and them. And these cats is black. They not olive. They're not from Morocco. They take a DNA test. They come from West Africa. Morocco's only in the picture because Noble Drew Ali said so. I told you Morocco's history, and it was never pure African from 1000 BC all the way up to 700 AD. That's a fact. Look it up. We weren't the Roman province. We weren't the Visigoths and Vandals. There was another people there. They're attached to Morocco because Noble Drew Ali said so. That's the bottom line. I've said that a bunch of times, and I want to say it again. Also, they did a prehistory, mitochondrial DNA on the Berbers, and guess what? They discovered that the Berbers and their DNA is linked to the Sami people, who come from Scandinavia, Norway. Look it up. Google mitochondrial DNA for Berber people. And their base stock comes from the north because there were nomadic people traveling and trickling down from Europe all the way down to France and Spain and Portugal and Germany. These are Eurasian white folk people's area. So when you check their DNA, you can look it up. They have Scandinavian, Norway, Sweden DNA in them. Most.
All right, time is up. Once again, guys, this is Debate Talk Radio. For those people, we got more and more people calling in. Let's let you guys know what the title is. The title of this debate: Moors versus Morocco. Why do American Moors claim Morocco? Once again, Moors versus Morocco. Why do American Moors claim Morocco? My special guest is Lord Abba versus Chief X. Right after Lord Abba's second rebuttal, we're going to go to the people to hear what you guys got to say. Let your voice be heard. Who do you think made the better points tonight? Was it Lord Abba? Was it Chief X? You decide. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. Simply press the number 1, and I'll add you to the conversation. For those new listeners out here, the call is free. There's no extra charge. You can call in. It's no problem. You can call in via Skype as well. So we're going to go to Lord Abba with a second rebuttal. That's going to be 7 minutes. We'll open up his phone line, and go ahead.
Islam. I mean, it was just really painful to sit there and listen through that. I just have to be honest. There's absolutely no scholarship. It's really just a red herring. You're talking about the Nation of Islam and the fathers. I mean, that has absolutely nothing to do with this particular topic. This topic is, why do Moors claim Morocco? We are speaking about jurisdictions. When the sons of Europe went to Morocco, went to the Moabite ruler, the Moorish ruler, Sultan Sidi Muhammad III, to get this treaty. They thought it was a treaty. It was a land grant, a land mandate, something that I break down in my video, Black Status versus Moorish American Nationality and the issue of reparations. They received a 50-year mandate. This is why you hear Moors make the claim this is truly our land. Actually, it's truly the dominions of our empire that was seated in Morocco. You look at the Negro Law of South Carolina. This was published in 1841. Chapter 1, the status of the Negro, his rights and disabilities. At Section 4, it reads, the term Negro is confined to slave Africans. And in parentheses, it says the ancient Berbers and their descendants. So they know, and they knew then, who the true Berbers were. If you go to an etymological dictionary and you pull up the word Moor, and the definition, the first definition is going to say North African, then comma. The second definition is going to say Berber, because Moor and Berber are indistinguishable. If you pull up the Roman map, there's a Roman map. Everybody, if you're on your computers right now, punch in Roman Periplus, Periplus. Something was wrong. I couldn't link into the blog talk, so I could just drop the links right in the chat so you can pull it up. On the Roman Periplus of the 1st century A.D., these Roman scribes listed the word Berbers, one in East Africa and one across the Nile. So again, we're speaking about a specific jurisdiction. That particular region in East Africa, for instance, this was called Taneter, along with Arabia by the ancient Egypt. What does Taneter mean? The divine land, or the land of the gods. So what this brother is saying is meritless. Nothing that he has produced here tonight, it was non-scholastic, it was non-academic. I mean, wasn't even pedantic. He read from no sources at all. He just presented a bunch of red herrings and a bunch of opinions. Oh, black people want to claim everything. But what does that have to do with the topic? Absolutely nothing at all. My opening statement, I was reading from World's Great Men of Color. I believe it's page 110. For whatever reason, I didn't cite my source here in my notes, but I want to read it again. It says, many American Negroes are indistinguishable from Arabs. The New York Times reports of the meeting between President Roosevelt and King Ibn Saud. It was a matter of considerable astonishment of the king's servants to discover American Negro cooks and the mess boys, and it was more than difficult to persuade them that these were not also Arabs. The matter was never entirely cleared up. So February 2nd, 1945, you have this meeting between President Roosevelt and King Ibn Saud, and King Ibn Saud is saying these people are Arabs. These people that you have as servants. This means that the king knew who the original Arabs were. This name they adopted. Look at the genetic makeup of the Egyptians today. These people call themselves Egyptians. But I cannot say because they're there now that they don't have no right to call themselves Egyptians, or that Chief X, who calls himself the God Best reincarnated, is not from there, because the people there now are not the ethnic makeup of the people that were there then. This is one of the greatest logical fallacies that the brother had put in his video and that he has expressed here tonight. Nothing that this brother said to me, and it's my opinion, made any sense. I love a good scholastic intellectual battle. Those that know me know this for a fact. I want to give proof of the dominions of Morocco. I want to give proof of the dominions of Morocco. Everybody talks about how Songhai was conquered by Morocco, the Islamic Moors of Morocco. Well, the kingdom that was conquered in Songhai was Islamic. The kingdom that particular regime conquered, the Za Empire, was an Islamic empire. The sons of the Askia, I can't think of his name offhand, I just stepped away from my notes. The sons of the Askia became despotic. They were becoming rebellious. A Muslim group rebelled against him. Instead of showing mercy in the Islamic manner, he put him to death. So, Ibn Mansur, the Moor from Morocco, he sent down a contingency to depose this particular Askia. His name was Ishaq II. This was Sultan El Mansur. That was his name. He sent down this particular regime to overthrow Askia Ishaq II because the brother was a desperate. He was killing people, maiming people, and the Sultan was like, this is not the Islamic way. This is why this particular regime was crushed, and they recognize Morocco as the head as well. So this is not just some new American thing. I have a note on Facebook called a rebuttal to Sanjetti of the Amin Ra Squad, where I break this down using all historical references. Everything that I do is well sourced. The claim that he made about Romans in Arabia, not recognizing Arabia during the 8-minute break, I pulled up several different sources. I'm not the type that wants to cite anything without vetting it first, but just in doing a quick Google search, prove them wrong. But again, I didn't want to cite any of that because that's not how I do my scholarship. I do.
All right, guys, this is it. This is the public Q&A. This is your time. The number is 646-716-7320. Let the truth be told. Call in with your questions and your comments. For those who just joined into the show, once you call in, all I'm going to ask you guys to do is to keep it clean, guys. No cursing. We don't do that on the show. That's why we're known as the most respected debate forum via internet, Debate Talk Radio, no foul language, or you'll be kicked off the show. You can ask your questions, your comments, but keep it brief as possible due to high volume of callers. So let's go to the people, guys. Once again, all the international listeners, if you're listening in, international listeners, you got to call in via Skype. You have to call in via Skype and press the number 1 if you have a question. So let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. Let's go to 516-670. You're live in the air.
Hotep, how everybody doing this evening?
Excellent.
How you doing?
I want to say first. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. My apologies.
No, Chief, I was responding and greeting you back. Divine.
Yeah, you good.
Hotep.
Yeah, you good. You good.
I want to say that the brother Chief X, you've done your work tonight. Okay, you've made it clear, and I never heard the brother refute any of the actual facts that you gave. And since he needs a source to be cited, I would like to briefly cite Sheikh Anta Diop's African Origins of Civilization, page 52. As for the Moors, these are Europeans who descended from the north, as the brother broke down, directly from the post-Islamic invasion, who started from Yemen, coming from Europe, conquered Egypt, North Africa, and Spain between the 7th and the 15th century. From Spain, they fell back on Africa. Thus, the Moors are basically Arab Muslims whose installation in Africa is quite recent. Numerous manuscripts preserved by the principal Moorish family in Mauritania today, manuscripts in which their genealogy is minutely traced since their departure from the invasion of Yemen, testify to their origin. Like the Berbers, the Moors are hostile to sculpture, whereas Egyptian culture attaches great importance to the artistic manifestation. That's just a one quick brief sample, and thank you for your time. A great show.
Lord Abba, you can reply, brother. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. I mean, thank the sister for listening in, and I mean, I don't know what she was listening to. She said the brother cited facts. What was his facts? Like, all I heard was opinion. Maybe I'm not on the level as a Chief X and the sister that called in. I'm not sure. Brother Wesley Muhammad, he, one of my favorite scholars, he showed and proved that a lot of our scholars, like Sheikh Anta Diop, like Chancellor Williams and Dr. Bear, all of them, when you went in the back of their books and you vetted their sources, these people were quoting European polemics.
Brother, that's what you did. That's what you did tonight, but can you just deal with what I said, okay? The Moors are Arabs, recent arrivals from Yemen. There is
I dealt with
from Europe, okay? Having come during the Islamic invasions of the 7th century. Deal with that, because you have cited mad, fraudulent, cracker beef sources tonight, and those that you couldn't cite. But I know where it came from, so let's deal with that.
Okay, now, if anybody really listened tonight, you'll notice that I was citing from contemporaneous sources. It wasn't like I was citing from a Sheikh Anta Diop who was giving his opinion.
Contemporaneous cracker sources.
If you're going to keep cutting me off, sisters, then how am I going to... I'm going to be quiet more. I'm not going to be yelling and screaming over anybody. So if the sister wants to just talk, I'm going to fall back.
No, the sister needs you to be honest. That's all I'm asking for. And I'm asking you to honestly deal with what I put out, because you said no, but his brother didn't cite no sources. I just gave you one. Now deal with what I cited.
Next caller.
All right, Chief X, you want to add anything? Go ahead before we move on.
Well, this is the thing. If a person says they're from somewhere, or that's their origin, or that's their nationality, they have to have. You have to touch on pre-Moorish history before the Moors came in there, okay? And this is what the sister was basically saying. She's giving you time frame of when the Moors came about and had their time in history. But that's not old enough to say that this is what I am and this is where I originate from. You don't originate from there because I gave you the history of who was there and who set up provinces in the time period. You know what I mean? The Roman Empire was there. We never had an empire there. No MSTA is a citizen of Morocco. Not one here in America is a citizen of Morocco. If you're a citizen, that means you can vote. You can participate in the election. You can do all that. Can you do that? No. Can you go over there right now?
That question is.
But what I'm saying is, you have to deal with pre-war history, okay? And they're new on the scene. So I'm not going to lay claim to something new when there's something ancient and better to lay claim to. Noble Drew Ali just didn't know any better.
If that's what you believe, brother. I've listened, and I haven't heard any facts come from you at all. I mean, all what you're saying is that you're talking about casting votes in Morocco. It's clear that you do not understand our theology or our ideology or our lessons or our teaching at all. And I would offer you to come take one of my courses that I give on Sundays or listen to my Blog Talk radio shows on Wednesday nights. I have some of them posted up in the archive. Some of them I have actually uploaded to YouTube because, brother, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I got to go to the callers. We have a whole lot of callers right now. Once again, it's Debate Talk Radio. The number is 646-716-7320. Like I said, once you call in, keep it clean, keep it professional. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to 570-441. You're live in air.
Islam. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're loud and clear, brother. What's going on? How you doing?
Islam, this is Brother Serrano Bay. First, I want to rise to be praised to Allah, give honor to His Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Yeah, so, like the sister came on prior, I give honor to everybody here. And, we were speaking about sources and information and things like that. And if we're going to be, debating and having, intellectual forums, and we're going to be teaching and educating, not being biased to anything, but I heard the brother Lord Abba name maybe 12 sources of his works, and I haven't. The only source I heard you say mention was Google, brother. So, my question was, can you give one source, a book, something, a DVD?
Yeah, you ready?
Islam, I'm ready. I got my pen waiting.
Okay, now. What you call y'all funny. What you call sources is Lord Abba quoting an author of a book. Okay. Now, this is a blog.
But it's tangible.
Not understand. Let me a Blog Talk radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This would be different if we were live on stage with PowerPoint. You understand what I'm saying? Where I can show all my sources and information where I got it. I'm actually just strictly speaking about history. And you guys keep talking about sources, but you're not dealing with my information I'm kicking tonight. All you want to keep asking is about source. I'm giving you dates and time. It's not even really necessary to quote sources. Now, if you want some sources, the sister gave one. I've read Sheikh Azadi. You know what I mean? Renoko Rashidi, okay? Ivan Van Sertima. All this information and everything I said came from my Pan-African elders. And these are people like Renoko Rashidi and Ivan Van Sertima that has been and traveled and went all up in Spain, traveled all throughout the Americas, and they brought this information to me. So I repeat what my master teachers have taught me. And all my master teachers were Pan-African. And the ones who was on the boots on the ground traveling to these countries doing field research, none were more. Noble Drew Ali didn't do no field research. He came up out the dirty South talking. Okay? So my sources are all them, my master teachers I've named, Dr. Ben. Those are my sources. You know what I'm talking about, where it comes from. Okay? Now, do you want to touch on this information, these dates? Okay. Was it a Roman province in the second, first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth century? You're talking 500, 600, 700, 600 years. I told you who was ruling for 500, 600 years, and can you dispute that?
Yeah, let me let Lord Abba jump in real quick. Go ahead, Lord Abba.
Look, brother, I don't know what you can say, oh, I got this from my master teachers. And, just to speak to, like, what the sister was talking about, she read from Sheikh Anta Diop, like, a lot of these Afrocentrists were anti-Islamic. This is an actual fact. Chancellor Will, all of them, they were anti-Islamic. Chancellor Williams was a Let me respond. They were anti-Islamic. When you go in, and I urge everybody, go look at their books, particularly when they're speaking about Islam and the spread of Islam, and look at the sources that they are citing. The sources that these Afrocentrists are citing are European Christians. The European Christians sought to separate Moor and Arab and Berber from each other, and they're still trying to do that till this day. So now that the people speak the Berber language, all of a sudden they are what is considered an ancient Berber. But I'm reading records from the 1800s of what these Europeans who knew our history then said. They are saying that only the ancient Berbers will be called Negroes, the descendants of the Africans on this land. And who did they call Negroes? Not the people that's over there now. So again, I can show and prove and back up our teachings, and I want to say this. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knew what he was talking about, because we are showing and proving it every day. And you haven't proven why the Moors can't claim Morocco. You're talking about voting in Morocco. Brother man, you have no clue as to what you're talking about. None.
So you can't vote in Morocco?
I can go anywhere. Anybody can go anywhere.
I say, can you vote and participate and run for election in Morocco? Let's keep it real.
I'm a citizen, brother. I'm a citizen I'm a Moorish American. You don't even understand the Moroccan system.
I understand.
All right, let me answer your question. Let me just answer your question. The Moroccan system, after the Morocco got its independence from the French in 1956, their whole form of government changed to a comparative form of government. Before then, it was a sultanate that traced back all the way since the beginning of Islam. So the stuff that you're talking, it just shows that you don't know what you're talking about. This government that Morocco has now has been implemented since 1956. Brother, you just do a little bit more study. I don't want to demean you.
Today, I agree with that. Today, Morocco and the United States are homies. But what they got to do with the cup of tea in China?
The cup of tea? I don't know, brother. I don't know. You know
they got
better
to do with
than
you
me.
being from there. You know what I mean? Real quick before we get to the next caller, if the topic says why do black Moors in America claim Morocco, it's boggling when you can't even vote there. You can't participate in nothing there. They never heard of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You have nothing. So the whole argument, you have nothing to do with. You black Americans have nothing to do with Morocco at all, politically or socially. Nothing at all to do with Morocco, and never did.
Okay. I mean, we have. You finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said earlier, we have letters. There were several different correspondences from Morocco. Everybody that's listening in, I want you to look up a brother named Jerry Lewis Bay. Jerry Lewis Bay in the 80s, and I believe the early 90s, made several trips to Morocco. He was working with Morocco. He was going over there. They were coming over here. They recognized Morocco the Moorish Science Temple of America since its inception. In the night after the Prophet passed, and I believe this was 1934, 1935, a Moroccan prince came over. And this is in the Moorish Science Temple of America's records. And the first question they asked was, where is our brother? Talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He had past form. Like, brother, again, you are ignorant on this particular subject, and I just urge you to do some more research. And if you do, you can kind of break the shackles of that Afrocentric mindset, because I believe that is poisonous, and it's drowning our people into a bunch of falsehoods, and it leads us nowhere but sitting in front of our computers making YouTube videos talking about gangster in some woman's vagina, like the video you just posted up. Please, let's go to the next caller.
You want to talk about that?
I mean, you posted
I keep it clear.
I sure did. And I keep it real. Do you want to have a discussion about that, or you want to get back on top?
No, I just
you can't do that right there.
We can get out.
All right, let's go to the next caller, though. Got to go to the next caller. Once again, it's Debate Talk for you. You know that number, 646-716-7320. Simply press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. Once again, I appreciate everybody that's calling. We have people calling in like crazy right now. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 314-680. You're live in air.
Peace, Lord Abba. Peace to the other brother as well. Me listening in, so this deep consciousness calling up out of St. Louis, LaRon Campbell. Me listening in, I have to definitely ride with Lord Abba, in the debate. You know what I'm saying? He was more clear. He cited more information. The one brother, his information was like he just went and talked to somebody and somebody prepped him for the debate, you know what I'm saying? Which I ain't trying to be disrespectful. But one of the things I want to bring out is people know their history better, that's in their land, better than what we actually know what it is. And I want everybody to, when they get a chance to look up the black Palestinians that's in Canaan right now, that's in Jerusalem right now. And there's a brother over there, his name is Ali Jaheed, I believe. And he did a documentary, and one of the things that the brother said was, he said that our people was taken into to Africa and then taken into America. And I don't find it odd that he say that, because he was like that, that he said that his ancestors was taken into Africa and then taken into America. And I thought to myself, I said, why would this brother say that, and why would he say that they are deeply rooted to the land of Palestine or Canaan, in that area?
Right.
And when Lord Abba was saying what he was saying, it hit on point, because we see this going on, we see this taking place, me and Lord Abba, we don't see eye to eye on certain things, but for the most part, when he was saying that, it struck me, because these are the people that's of that land, and you're in America, and these people are of that land. So whatever history that you're talking about, these people know their history.
That's
and for you to come and tell these people otherwise,
foolish.
That's foolishness, brother.
Be clear. What people are you talking about? What people?
Let's look up. Anybody can Google this. You can look up the black Palestinians.
It's not complicated. It's not complicated.
Hold on, brother. Hold on.
People?
There's a brother. Hold on. There's a brother. The black Palestinians. They call him Kashim. There's a brother. This older. His name is Ali Jaheed.
Okay.
And he said that our people was taken. They did a documentary of him, and he said our people was taken from Jerusalem, taken from Canaan, the land of Canaan, and taken into Africa, and then took it into America. We need to look at that. We need to look at that and look at that information. Good job. And I'm a believer of the text. I don't really ride with Islam, but this brother did his thing. Lord Abba did his thing tonight, and he came with the information of peace, brother.
Honest. Peace and love to you, brother. And I'm going to definitely check that information out. Because let me just say real quick, I've seen certain videos about the same topic. Sister Dana Marnici, again, she wrote the ethno-history to the Moors in the book Golden Age of the Moors with Ida Van Sertima. She actually translated text from French into English for Sheikh Anta Diop. So I'm dealing with an actual archaeologist and anthropologist that I have her phone number. like I can call. She came on the show and broke down the very thing that I'm talking about tonight, not just based off of what other writers said, but her own field experience as an anthropologist and interviewing the people in West Africa, interviewing the people all throughout the Sahara and the Berber tribes. You know, some are not considered Berber tribes, etc. And most of the tribes claim an Arabian/Canaanite origin. The tribe of Prophet Muhammad were historically said to be a people of Canaan, a quote-unquote black people of Canaan. So I have all of the documentation and references to back up our claims.
All right, you can reply.
You know what? That was the most. First of all, the caller didn't shame on him. He made a statement that somebody said we came from. Okay? I know a bunch of people that say we came from Pluto. And I've heard these cuckoos say it. So so bottom line, after all that garble him and Lord Abba just said, the brother basically only said he heard somebody say that they took us from Canaan, basically Israel area, to Africa, and then from Africa to America. That's what he basically said. That is the most asinine, unhistorical, dumbest scholarship I ever heard in my entire life. They took a people from
not what you did tonight, brother. That's what I was thinking about what you did tonight.
That's what he said. He heard some dark Pakistanians, Canaan, Israel, same shit. Excuse my language. Sorry.
Keep it clean, though. Keep it clean, baby. You got to keep it clean, man. All right, let's go to the next caller. Let's go to, let's see. Let's go to 708-612. You're live in air. 708-612. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, how you doing, brother? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to say, I agree with Brother Chief X on this topic tonight. My only problem I have is a lot of people are against Africa for some reason. I mean, know that is the home, origin of civilized man. My question to Lord Abba is, why does he embrace Islam as a religion? We know that majority of the Arabs enslaved Africans, and they came into the land. And if you just do a historical search on the Sumerians, they were a part of Africa, and they are the first civilization that blossomed out. And pretty much all of their things that they talk about in the Sumerian clay tablets doesn't have anything to do with Islam, because the Africans were a polytheistic religion. They believed in many gods, not one God, because that is what Abraham believed in. And you can trace Abraham back to Samaria. He was from the city of Ur, and I believe he is the founding fathers of the three main religions of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And if you trace them back, you will see what deity he worshipped, because he embraced monotheism just as Moses. And pretty much, we know that the Bible is pretty much plagiarized from other religions, other texts. Okay, so I would ask Brother Abba, why does he embrace Islam? Because Islam endorses slavery in the Quran, slavery. Why would you embrace a book that endorses slavery? And that is the same brutality that was forced upon our ancestors. Why would you embrace something like that? And the Bible as well endorses slavery. The God of the Bible endorses slavery. The God of the Quran endorses slavery. Why would you pray to the deity who endorses those type of things?
All right, let's let Lord Abba answer those questions. There, Lord Abba.
Go ahead.
I hear those questions all of the time, and please forgive me, but they're bogus. The Quran of Mecca doesn't endorse slavery. Our people have this misconception of what is meant by slavery. You know, when you look back in ancient Egypt, you know, you hear people say Dr. Ben, or they quote Dr. Clark, rather, the Egyptians never had any slaves. Well, that's just not factual at all. On the walls of Egypt, we find many instances of Cushites being decapitated by pharaohs, captured and enslaved in the name of Amun-Ra, in the name of Horus. There is nowhere in the Quran of Mecca, no hadiths, traditions, and oral sayings, nowhere in the Quran of Mecca is there an endorsement of slavery, particularly the type of slavery that you're speaking about. So that's false. If you want to learn about Islam, if you really want to learn about Islam, go to Islamic scholars. Dr. Wesley Muhammad has a blog called Black Arabia on Google. If you want to learn, if not, you're just going to keep repeating the same nonsense that keeps getting beat up and beat up. Now, I embrace Islam because Islam means peace. I practice Islam and I call it Islamism because I am for the practice of peace. I understand the history of what Islam is and what Mohammedanism of the 7th century AD is, and you don't. And because I understand these things, I am comfortable in my decision to practice peace. And that's why I embrace Islam. Practice it. Worship Allah, which comes from the ancient name of the God El.
All right, Chief X, you can reply to
that. You know, the brother just was wondering why. I was just listening to Lord Abba Wiggle. Anybody with common sense? Wiggle. Both books, the Bible and Quran, both endorse that it's okay to have slavery in some form or fashion. That's just common sense. We can go to the next caller.
All right, got a whole lot of callers here. We got to get to the people. Once again, this is your time, guys. This is your time. You have any questions or comments, feel free to call in. Don't be shy. I know there's a lot of shy people out there. But we got a whole lot of people lined up right now. That press the number 1. The number is 646-716-7320. We're going to go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. Let's go to Israel Doctrine on Skype. Live in air.
Peace, what's up, Abba? Keep my name out of your mouth, man. But no, you all good. I don't take no offense to what you said earlier. Look, somebody have to prove something. The burden of proof, I would say, was on you tonight to prove why the Moors claim Morocco and claim citizenship, nationality, and everything else from Morocco, but yet the question is, do you have a Moorish passport? Or do you just have a Moorish Science Temple card which you print up at the house?
That's it?
Yeah, I'm going step by step.
Okay,
if you could tell me yes or no, or which one you got, I'll move to the next portion.
All right, well, I mean, that requires some things as simple as a yes or no, and some things require a
well, do you have a Moorish passport?
No.
Do you have a Moorish Science Temple card?
Yes.
Okay. You have the Moorish Science Temple card because Noble Jew Ali said you got to have the card or the passport.
He implemented the nationality cards as an identification for our people.
So that don't the identification card only identifies you as a Moorish Science Temple American, right?
And a Muslim under the laws of the Great Quran of Mecca, which have been deemed by the Hague to be international law, different from the Roman system that runs the world today. So yes.
What you fail to state and realize that you did not state at the end of the day that it makes you a Moroccan citizen also. So your claim to nationality for us being a part of a group of people and stuff, as you said earlier, that may be true. Same language, same culture, same this and that make you of the same nationality, but it don't make you a Moroccan citizen or a native or.
Can I ask you a question, brother?
Yes, you can.
Do you know what Moorish American nationality means?
It depends on who you ask.
I'm asking you.
Hold up. What do you want me to quote it from? Do you want me to quote it from Noble Jew Ali, or do you want me to quote it from someone else? The question is, let me say this. If you can quote it, let me say, if you can quote it from the prophet, then you wouldn't have asked me that question. Well, in this divine warning to the nation, right? He says, if the Italian, Greeks, English, Chinamen, Japanese, Arabs is forced to proclaim their national name and religion before the constitutional government, which government? That's the United States, right? Of the United States of America. That's right. Right? It is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens, not Moroccan citizens, American citizens. That's right. So therefore, he's stating that you and the rest of the Moors are American citizens, and now you have to do as the Italians and stuff and say you come from Morocco. But those people most definitely and can show that they were Europeans and they came over here, they was Chinamans or Japanese. What you're saying is we was American Negro slaves, haven't went back to Morocco, haven't went back there and claim our nationality, because the law in Morocco now, as I talk to the ambassadors over here, those this I called them in when we was gonna do our debate. I called them and stuff. Even now they have it where the mother can transfer her Moroccan citizenship or nationality to a child. Once upon a time that couldn't happen. If you was mixed and the father the one, you could not even fight hard enough to get citizenship over there. Now you telling me you don't have a mother or father that's a Moroccan citizen and you can get citizenship? You can get a passport, because that's what Noble Jew Ali said. And Noble Jew Ali never said anything about Moroccan citizenship. He never said anything about obtaining a Moroccan passport. And like I said to the brother Chief X earlier, it is clear, beloved, that you haven't studied the whole scope of what this entails. You are equating, Islam, let me finish. You are equating nationality with country. You see, Italian Americans, their nationality in the United States of America is Italian American, Irish Americans, Nigerian Americans. But when you look up the legal definition, not the definition that I want to use or Israel Doctrine or Chief X or whomever else wants to use, but when you look up the legal definition, nation has nothing to do with geography. Nation has something to do with bloodline and customs. You brothers, this is why I'm offering up classes so that you can become better educated and shake up. Our people just want to debate, which is fine, but when you hear the facts, do you discard them and then keep on pushing the same misinformation once you've been given that which you can go and see for yourself is 100% all wise, right, and exact? And that's what I'm facing with you and Brother Chief X and everybody that thinks like you. You are wholly ignorant to the mechanics of what this thing is about.
We kind of run out of time. We got like 12 minutes on the air, guys. We have 12 minutes on the air. However, we're going to go into the overtime part of the show. We'll get the final statements. We're going to take a few more callers. For those people that are new, once the time is up, you're going to have to call in and listen to the show via phone or via Skype. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. Once again, it's like 12 minutes on the air. Once that time runs out, we're going to go into the overtime part of the show. You're going to have to listen to the show via phone or Skype. However, the show is archived. You can catch it later on the website. Let's go to Chief X, though. Chief X, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother.
Okay, because I had hung up. I had to call back in. My phone just reboot.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
So I missed about a minute. Now this is what now, the final closing?
Oh, no, not yet. No, I just want to make a little brief comment before we move on to the next question.
Oh, from the previous guy's comment. Okay,
yeah.
Fell off the line for a minute. Basically, I mean, Lord Abba has nothing to do but really wiggle on that. Okay, you if you go over to Morocco, they're gonna throw you in a refugee camp with the sub-Saharan African. They don't want you. It's 99% Berber and Arab over there. Okay, you can't vote over there. You can't even get in the dang country. You can't participate in no elections. You can't go buy no home. You can't do nothing. So why do we claim, black Moors claim Morocco? I have no but except no but Ali told them.
All right, we run out of time. I got to go to the next person. Run out of time. Got to go to the next person. Let's go to 203-668. You're live in the air.
Black Power.
What's wrong?
What's going on, Lord Abba? What's going on, Chief Facts?
What's wrong? All is well.
Black Power is divine greeting.
Well, this is Brother Paul from Tune on the Cloud Radio. This was a pretty good debate. You know what I mean? I went back and forth with information. I really think that people got caught up, on whether or not Chief X was stating sources. But one of the things that I think what he was doing was laying a historic outline out.
Yeah, your phone messed up a little bit. We're not hearing you clearly.
Answer. And so I wanted to ask a question, and the question has to deal with the Africans and the Asiatics. Lord Abba, you made a statement about Asiatics who went into Africa and they came out of Canaan and became the Africans. With that statement, it seemed to me as though you were saying that Asia or some place in Asia would be the foundation of life for the Africans. And if you were stating that, could you give me some archaeological proof? But if you weren't stating that, could you clarify that for me?
Definitely, brother. Honors for your question. When you look at a lot of, and again, Sister Dana Marnici, I have that video up on my YouTube channel. We try to cram a lot of information in these particular discourses. But when you have the time to go and research certain actual works, for instance, Wesley Muhammad did a paper called Ife and Islam Sibling Rivals. And in it, he's breaking down how the chief Yoruba tribe, or the Oyo, they all trace their descendancy back to Arabia, back to the ancient land of Canaan. And this is one of the things that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was expressing to us, that at some point, and I haven't been able to pinpoint that particular point yet, that we started to come into the land of Africa. We do not teach that man descend from a bunch of monkeys and apes. So I, personally, throw out the Lucy theory. That's just me personally. Now, when you look at all of these tribes that inhabit the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, you look at the oldest human bones found, I believe that was in East Africa, that dated back 250,000 years. One of the specific tribes that sticks out is the tribe in Cameroon. In Cameroon, there was a man who had a gene that they dubbed A00. Now, this gene was found in the South Carolina man over here. They wouldn't reveal his identity for whatever reason. This A00 group. Now, this A00 group gene map was 140,000 years older than the earliest bones found in Africa. So now we have to get to the point of, okay, we have to now match up this gene pool with evidence of, and the only evidence that we can use is skeletal remains. So until we find a skeleton that dates back 140 which dates back 340 to 350, possibly even 360,000 years, the claim that people somehow just grew in Africa is in hot dispute. This is why it is always called the out of Africa theory. I just want to state this for the record for everybody. We of the Moorish Science Temple of America, because a lot of people listen to a lot of other Moorish groups, we do not deny our Africanity at all. You go through our literature, you find the word Africa mentioned several times. The Moors of America, whom are the descendants of the inhabitants of Africa. That's in our Moorish Quran. That's all through our Moorish literature. And a lot of people confuse the Moorish Science Temple of America's teachings with the teachings of these other groups that split off and try to do their own thing and concoct and craft their own ideology. But that has nothing to do with us. The MSTFA does not in any way, shape, or form deny its Africanity.
All right, Chief X, I'm going to let you reply. We have 5 minutes on the air, guys. 5 minutes on the air. So before the time is up, you're going to have to call in and hear the rest of the show. Once again, that number is 646-716-7320. If you happen to miss the show later on, the show is archived. As always, go to the website, www.blogtalkradio.com/debate talk for you. You can check out season 1 all the way up to season 5. All right, Chief X, go ahead.
Yeah, basically Lord Abba is just trying to. He may not be just totally anti-African, but he's saying his origins are not in Africa. He's saying that life basically was sprang from the Israel area around there. Sumeria. No, you didn't say that, but you were alluding to Sumeria and things may have came out of. Instead of just simply saying what any real historian knows, even the huge majority of white historians would tell you everything came out of Africa. Let's stop playing. It began Africa. The Nile Valley has the oldest written history. No other civilization has a written history older than Egypt. Anything else is speculation. The only thing somebody can come up with is, we found a bone somewhere, like he said. We found a bone somewhere that dated this, so that may mean that. No. People was traveling all over the world, so people die traveling. You might find a bone anywhere. That don't mean nothing. Our written records tell us it was out of Africa, specifically the beginning of the Nile, Congo region, the Twa, or what they call the Butwa, or what they call today the Pygmy, are the oldest people on the planet, okay? And they came out the Congo area, Uganda, Tanzania, where Lake Victoria is, where the volcanoes is, where the water is at the beginning of the Nile, okay? The Egyptians say that they came from there also, okay? You can't get around this, okay? And people talk about Sumeria being older, and that's baloney also, okay? The Sphinx in Egypt is older than Sumeria itself. The Sphinx is 9,000 years old. Sumeria can't touch the Nile Valley in ancient writings and literature and written history. It's ridiculous. It's even elementary to even still be discussing that.
All right,
you know what I mean? All major civilizations came along, started along a major river. That major river was the Nile. In West Africa, it was the Niger. In America, it was the Amazon. Didn't nothing come out of it. Everything came out of Africa. That's elementary. We should be moving on from that.
Okay.
All right, we have 2 minutes on the air. If you're listening via Facebook, social media, you're going to have to call in and hear the rest of the show. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. Right about now, I'm just going to have some time to take a few quick comments. And after that, we're going to go to the final statement part of the show. So I'm just going to take a few quick comments right now. Once again, if you have any quick comments, just press the number 1 and I'll add you to the conversation. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. We got to get to the final statements real soon, so I'm just taking quick comments at the moment. Let's go to 212-4 390. Quick comments.
It's on. It's on. Can you hear me?
It's on.
Yeah, praise the Lord,
Okay.
Uncle Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is Brother Santana Bay, calling from Temple number 34, Brooklyn, New York. I had a comment for Brother Chief X, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, when you're saying that, the Moorish Science Temple of America claiming Morocco, it should just be very well known, right, that when Prophet Noble Drew Ali in chapter 47 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America was saying who we were, he was saying that we were part of the present Moroccan Empire. And it should be noted for anyone speaking the English language that Morocco and Moroccan doesn't mean the same thing. Morocco is a political jurisdiction which is currently referred to as a nation state. It's a kingdom. And Moroccan is particularly referring to the people who are members of the Moroccan Empire. So Moroccan, when he was saying Moroccan, he was saying of Morocco. Not the territoriality, but the people. So, the debate question doesn't make sense. Moors don't claim Morocco. We claim to be the members of the Moroccan Empire, which extended northwest and southwestern shores of Africa, which you seem really big on, across Atlantis, and North, South, Central America and the adjoining islands. So I would just, you don't seem to be really big on reading books, but if you read those 4 or 5 instructions in the one chapter of a pamphlet that's about 64 pages long, you might be able to get some insight more on your debate. Furthermore, Chief X, you say a lot about Africa. Brother, for the record, so everybody here is clear, what's your nationality? Because Africa is a continent composed of over 54 countries, and there are various nations that are inhabiting this territoriality, this continent, which is only separated by Asia by a man-made ditch, which Khalid Muhammad said. I heard somebody say Black Power. So if you read Khalid Muhammad and you listen to what he said, he taught multiple times that there's only a little river that separates the two. So in reality, one continent, not separate continents that separate European.
Yeah. It's on?
I'm here.
I don't know what happened.
You there, Abba?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Where's Sal?
Yeah, man. Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Yeah, technical difficulties, man. Technical difficulties with my mic. Apologize, man. But Chief X, you can reply briefly. Go ahead. Yeah, you want to reply briefly? Go ahead.
Yeah, what he was basically saying is he's calling everything Morocco. He's saying Africa's Morocco, basically. Because he said Central, South America, North America. South. Yeah, I know the game. Come on, man. I used to be down. What he's trying to say is America is Morocco also. And they can play on this Mero name and this and that. America's named after Americo Vespucci. It has nothing to do with Morocco. You're not gonna sit here and change geography, and you never been out your city or even have a passport, and just disrupt what Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Renoko Mashidi said, and try to play off like Morocco is America. That's that game stuff, that playing and that word.
Nobody said that, brother.
Let's cut that out, man. You got to have some integrity. You guys really have to have some integrity. Let's cut that out. You read when rocks cry out, people changing.
I can respond now. Out of time. Go ahead, Lord Abba. You can reply real quick.
Okay, look. If you look up Commonwealth nations, right, across this globe, many African nations, for instance, are Commonwealth nations. Canada, all of these people, Jamaica, they pay homage to the Queen. This means that these particular countries that are under the Commonwealth of Nations are under the dominion of the crown, under the dominion of this particular empire. So because a country in Africa, for instance, is under the dominions of the empire of the crown in England, that doesn't mean that the country in Africa is an English country. Like, brother, you keep saying wiggle and using all of these red herring catchphrases. That's not what.
Yeah.
Nobody said what you're saying. You're trying to come up with stuff on the fly because you noticed that you have been outclassed in this particular debate, and it's okay. It happens. This is how we learn, and this is how we grow.
All right, we're getting close to the final statements, guys. Let me just take a few more quick comments, and after that, we're going to go to the final statements. Let's go to 615-578. Quick comments. Quick comments, brother or sister.
Yeah, peace. This is Lex Vortex. I want to say Lord Abba won hands down. I think, he's crazy with the Islamic stuff, but when he I think he cited the sources, he pointed out the history. Afrocentrics are geographically retarded, nationalistically retarded. Their scholars, Dr. Ben was biased. All of them were biased. If you even study, he doesn't have a passport to Egypt, but he want to tell us about Egypt. So how's that?
I'm
never.
Don't
make a quick comment. Hold on. Quick comments. Go ahead.
I'm making a quick comment. So they always tell Egypt, none of them can go to Egypt. They don't got a passport. Maybe he should do a study on the Barbary Wars and realize that America was subject to Morocco well into the 1800s. Anybody can do that. That's why they sang the song From the Halls of Montezuma to the Shores of Tripoli. They was paying taxes to Morocco well into the 1800s. Study the Barbary Wars. So when the brother says the Moroccan Empire, he is right. One thing that Lord Abba got right, he's talking about when Sheikh Andy Diop said the Moors came from Yemen. He talk about them Islamic people that was going into Africa, and the ones that said they come to Canaan were Jews. And I would love to have that discussion with Lord Abba one day, but Lord Abba won that hands down. Afrocentrics are retarded. You can see that Africa, when you talk about the geography of Africa, it is a continent. All right, the Nigerians do not consider themselves Cameroonians. The people in Zambia do not consider them the same people as the people around them. So when they talk about people hating Africa, it doesn't make any sense. And then you can't say a man can't claim that he's part of Morocco because you can't vote and all that. You can be.
Yeah, I apologize, brother. Man. Run out of time, man. I got to go to the next caller. Quick comments. 404-936. Quick comments, brother. Quick comments. 404-936. You're live in air. Quick comments. It's your time.
Yeah, peace.
Hey, peace.
Islam. I just wanted to ask a few questions. I'll actually make the comment. I hear the brother Lord Abba, my good brother Lord Abba, referring to the red herring and these logical fallacies. I was wondering if you could possibly expound on what that means.
Briefly, Lord Abba, if you could, briefly.
All right, Islam. A red herring is when you're having a conversation. Let's just say we're having a conversation about race cars, and you keep talking about buses. I'll keep trying to get you to talk about the race cars, and you keep talking about how slow buses go. A logical fallacy is when a person presents claims. These claims may sound good, but the end result of what they're saying doesn't back up their premise, and this is what we've seen tonight. Many of the things that this brother Chief X cited, it was a bunch of, his opinions, but he never brought anything to solidify those opinions. It's like the ends didn't justify the means, if you will. So that's just the basic breakdown, and I implore everybody to look up and study logical fallacies. There's a master list that you can find online. I think we would all become sharper in our arguments if we did such.
All right, guys, I wish I could get to every single caller, but time doesn't permit. I can't get to everybody. We got to get to the final statement part of the show, guys. So, once again, I appreciate everybody that called in with their questions and their comments. I told you, you got to press the number 1 early if you want to be heard out here. It's debate talk for you. So, let's go to Chief X. Once again, it's the final statement time. We open up his phone line. And Chief X, final statement, 7 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, Chief X back. Lord Abba, thanks for coming in for the debate, but you absolutely, to say I'm off topic, and that's far from the truth. You didn't really touch the topic. We have nothing to do with Morocco. That's the topic. You haven't proved it in any kind of way. Today, in 2014, not socially or politically, we are devoid of any dealing with Morocco. In history, we didn't have nothing to do with Morocco besides going up in there after somebody else was there and conquering them and halfway civilizing them, and then getting kicked right on back out 1492. Okay? You got kicked out of where you claim that you're from in 1492. Okay? To have a nationality, you must have a nation. A nation sits at the table with the United Nations. Do more MSTA sit at the table at the UN? Do they sit at the table with Morocco? They have nothing to do with anything with Morocco. No say-so at all. We descend. Do you see how big Africa, the continent, is? That's where we come from. Okay? We don't come from Morocco at all. And that's the topic. He didn't touch that. I gave people the history of Morocco prior to the Arab and African invasion. And it wasn't an African people there running anything. It's not their origin. I told people that the Moroccan history begins 1000 BC. You got pyramids 6,000 years old. But you don't originate there. You originate from a place where there was nothing in 1000 BC, a blanket, empty, mountainous area. That's where you originate from. And then you guys want to flip it and call America Morocco. I told you how people were going to play word games and semantics and switch up geography. I started off saying this, and switch up geography. Okay? Now we got to have a discussion. Are you from Morocco or are you from America? Which one is it? Which one is what? All this backdoor stuff and escape hatches and stuff. Morocco is northwest Africa. Nowhere else. Look at a map. Canaan is West Asia. Moabites are from West Asia. They didn't go over there and run nothing in Morocco. Phoenicians were the first to touch there, and they was a mixed people. They was a Mediterranean people. Okay? We got to be real. Lord Abba has played word games and quoted authors who were basically Asiatic inclined and Arabic in nature. Don't none of our master teachers tell people that they came from Morocco or originate there, or even say we came from Canaan there. Not one. All the master scholars, Ivan Van Sertima, Sheikh Antadia, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, Renoko Rashidi, all these people never say nothing about what Lord Abba is talking about. Where does he get it from? He get it from his daddy, Noble Drew Ali, who didn't know nothing. He did a good deed for a period of time. Noble Drew Ali was not a historian by any means. Actually, he was involved in some drama and some murder allegations in the 30s. They bustling over, fighting over leadership of the movement. Exchanged couple, 3, 4 times. They confused from Jump Street. And they come to a people who's darn near illiterate in America, looking for an identity, pimping. They was pimping the people mentally. They wasn't teaching no history at all. They don't big up no Africa. You hear them talking about it. The caller, Lex, this jive turkey talking about Afrocentric is ignorant. In his other Moors, what he called it, they Afrocentric is ignorant. And they hate Africa. And they try their best to wiggle all around Africa to talk about people coming from Sumeria. Oh, no, we come from America. We don't come from Africa. All this garbage is elementary. It really is. And it's a shame that these people don't have no integrity with their scholarship. It's a shame that they can't let go of their foolish pride, because that's what it is. It's foolish pride. Moore's been in 4 debates, lost every one of them. Fact. They 0-4 in debate. Give it up. Just stop it. They 0-5 now. Spanked Lord Abba tonight. Okay? Noble Drew at least no authority on nothing. I don't care what he said. Some guy called himself, when Noble Drew Ali said in the Circle 7 Quran, some book that was plagiarized, he using biblical literature to prove a historical point, and that don't click. It's madness. Moabites, Canaanites, Ham, these are biblical people, not historical people. He said himself, Ham is a people. Well, I have a son named Rashad. If my son is named Rashad, he's a person. How Noah going to have sons whose name is Ham, but he's not a person? He's a people?
All right, Chief X, I appreciate you coming on the platform, my brother, making this happen. This is the first Moor versus Pan-African debate. I appreciate you guys making that time. But Chief X, do me a favor. Let the people know where they can find you, if you have the YouTube channels, things of that nature. Go ahead, before we move on to Lord Abba. Let them people know where they can contact you.
Yes, sir. My Facebook page is Varian Xavier, alternate name Chief X. Okay? So I also have a YouTube channel with some videos. I got a video really breaking down Moor in Morocco and just disrupting their whole paradigm. The video's on there. So my YouTube page is 01X-Man. Real simple. 01X-Man. Check out my videos. It's only unity with Pan-Africanism. All religions are divisive and destructive. All religions hate Africa. Christianity badmouths Africa. Bad Egypt. Islam badmouths Africa. The Holy Land's not in Africa, it's in Mecca. No, the Holy Land's in Israel. You know what I mean? All these religions, Nation of Islam, Moorish Science Temple of America, the Hebrews talk bad about Africa and Africans. All these are Asiatic cliques who cause disunity with the black Pan-African family. Dex called in a minute ago and said Afrocentrics is stupid. He's calling Dr. Ben stupid, Dr. Amos Wilson stupid, who wrote the Blueprint of Black Power. He's calling all these scholars, Ivan Van Sertima, stupid because broken up for stupid.
Hold on, Chief. I know you got some more things got to come out, man. We got to move on, though, man. Appreciate that, my brother. The website is up still, all right? CommonSenseScience7.com. That's still up. Chief X.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate that, my brother. We got to move on, though. Time running out. Let's go to Lord Abba with his final statements. You got 7 minutes, brother? Go ahead.
Islam. I mean, look, if a lot of people called in and it was obvious that, from the consensus that I won this debate. I don't come doing this to perform for anybody. I like to drop the facts and, you're going to decide. The people out there, they're going to say who won and they're going to say who lost. It's just like when I had the debate with the myth maker Ali Muhammad. There were some things that happened in the background that I won't discuss or get into, but at the end of it, everybody hit me up and they said, after I watched the video and I compared the information, I didn't see where he disproved any of the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I didn't see where he really even touched on the topic of that debate with anything tangible that can be, someone can go back and research and say, that's right and exact. But everything that I presented at that debate, just like everything that I presented at this debate, well, you can go and research it for yourself. I've never claimed that Moors in America all descend from Morocco. It tells you right in Act 6 of our divine constitution and bylaws that the Moorish Americans, that we are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. You know, he keeps trying to paint the Moorish Science Temple of America with the same broad brush that I spoke on earlier. And this is what happens. A lot of the facts get ignored. And people, they want to keep trying to drive these same fallacious points home over and over and over again, because they know that there's somebody listening out there that agrees with them regardless, like that sister that called in, that was the first caller. That's why I didn't entertain anything that she said after a while. Now, I want to read nationality, because this brother doesn't understand what nationality is, obviously. This is coming out of Black's Law's Dictionary, 5th edition. It's the quality of character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with a reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. Prophet Noble Drew Ali explains to us, by you being born here, don't make you citizens. So now then, how do we become nationals in a government that we are not full citizens of, that we are actually denizens of? Then the naturalization process has to come in place. And that came with the Moorish Science Temple of America. Come proclaim your nationality in front of your grand sheet. Take out your nationality card. And now you are accepted as a member and are viewed as a full citizen of the United States of America. Nation is defined in Black's Law Dictionary 5th edition as a people or aggregate of men existing in the form of an organized Jewish society. Remember, that brother claimed that he didn't want to be a part of any organization. He just wants to be dolo talking about gangstering women's vaginas on his YouTube videos. That's what he talks about, and I guess that's what you can do when you're out there, quote unquote, for dolo. But that's not what we do in our organization. It continues. Usually inhabiting a distinct portion of the earth, speaking the same language, using the same customs, possessing historic continuity, and distinguished from other like groups, like Chief X, by their racial origin and characteristics, and generally, but not necessarily, living under the same government and sovereignty. I want to go back to a point. It says usually inhabiting a distinct portion of the earth. Usually, but not necessarily. Before the Jews took Palestine under the mandate of 1948, they were always called the nation of people. All of the Black's Law Dictionary definitions up until that point, they mentioned this. You know, that it said, it breaks down nationality, and it says not speaking about a geographical location. Not speaking about a geographical location, see, and it'll have in parentheses, see the Jews. Because before 1948, they didn't have no geographical boundary to call their own, but they had a national descent line that they can trace using historical continuity. And, you know, the brother was right about one thing. And all of my Moors from the Moorish Science Temple of America that are listening in, he was right about where are the Moors at when it comes to sitting down in the United Nations. Prophet Noble Drew Ali went to the Pan-American Conference in Havana, Cuba in 1928 that represents us as a nation, because we was one unit then. And it's time for us to become one unit now. We have a doctrine and a theology that is impregnable. It's untouchable. Many have tried, but they keep falling on their face. They may outperform us in a debate, but they cannot out-information us, and we've proven that. We have that which will uplift fallen humanity, and we're proving it over and over and over again. And this debate tonight, well, it stands as more proof. This brother couldn't come and chop down any of the information. The other brother that called in, hit me up on Facebook. Let's see if we can set something up, possibly couple of weeks from now. Come back on Sal Showtime show. And I can't remember exactly what was the topic you said, but I would be glad to have the discussion/debate with you. And, you know, we get it in so we can educate more people, because with me it's more about educating than it is just about debating and bashing my brothers and trying to put them down as Chief X just did in his closing argument. And with that, I say peace and love to you all.
And Lord Abba, you know, once again, I appreciate you as well, man. Like I said, it's the first Moor versus Pan-African debate. Appreciate you bringing it to the platform. Let the people know where they can reach out to you and, you know, they can find, you know, get further information.
Definitely. I'm on Facebook as Abba Lord, ABBALORD. That's 2 separate words. My email address is MorrisScienceTemple@gmail.com. My YouTube channel is Lord Abba 9, Lord Abba, in all capital letters. My website is www.morrissciencetemple.org. If you are desirous of proclaiming your nationality, please go to the website, send a message. If you are confused about this thing, don't hesitate to hit me up and build. I'll answer my phone. If I have the time, I'll take the time out and build with you as well. And, you know, that's basically it. That's how you contact me. That's how you learn more about what this movement is about. One more thing, I have a book called Why You Must Proclaim Your Nationality. I don't care if you're Hebrew Israelite or call yourself Black Pan-Africanist. Please read that book so that you can understand what this nationality, quote-unquote, thing entails and not speak out of ignorance. And I believe if you read the book, you will have a greater understanding and not take other people's words for it. So with that, I definitely want to say peace.